dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up and dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets snipped now. Acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Mistos, causing chaos and play up Calypso.
I pause in kitchens and caused addictions. I pause prescriptions and cause inflictions. Lil Bixby playing in stores and bricks and on the dark web. You gotta pause every doors, cause encryptions. Tesla engines, pause the pistons. I seen every floor I leave sore and listing. For that action, they sponsored the Bronson. They was hooked on that shit like Johnson and Johnson. That freeway, Ricky Ross, straight out of Compton, straight out of Bompton. Red on blue, violence in the land. The projection of the will, the perfection of the kill, the reflection of the pills. I'm a frontline soldier, I'm no doja. These crystals not for
Niggas in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up and dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets lips now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso.
Hickory dickory down, hit a lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot. Heavy in the pedal, we slip off a knot. Heavy in the ghetto, they crib walk a lot. Crib walk the crypto, lift off the stocks. Drips off the crystal and pots. Disco rods in the blocks on my chain from the crystal shop. In the light air, lift off the rock. Toe from the right chain on my block. White paint on my socks. White paint on my socks. Hickory dickory dock. Hit the lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot, we lick off a shot.
Niggas in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist pump, you stay up and dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets lips now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso.
Was Bad Bunny acting gay off in Cisco? Yo. Shout out to the family. Peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Welcome back to Sacrilegious Sundays. Know the ledger. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. In the dark, you know what I'm talking about? In the dark, after dark, you know what I mean? After dark, we're in the building. You know what I'm talking about? Let me know how we sound on the audio before we begin, because we do not want to have any audio problems. This one needs to be clear. Let's be clear. The show is already going to be a classic. I could feel it. We have a lot of information to share with y'all. We've been in the mother effing lab. It don't stop. I can't help it. I really can't. If I could, I would. I cannot help it. The shit is lit. You know what I'm talking about? The grid is lit. It is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? We're just going to be here to document it and talk about it. Disclaimer. We are not here to revel in anything that's going on around the globe. I am not going to personalize anything that is going around the globe. That is ego. I went to the jungles to deal with my ego, so I'm not going to interject my ego into shit that's going on around the world. However, what I will do and what I am going to do is I'm going to point out some history and some historical references, and then I will point out what is going on around the world, and I'll let everyone in the audience come to a conclusion. Let's just do it like that. I'm going to remove myself from anything because, you know, that's not what this is about. This is about highlighting what is going on around the world and then using historical references to tie, right? To tie in what is going on and to ask a few questions. Simple. Okay, just simple. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's go and do the roll call. Oh, the Patriots lost. Blasters. Yeah, blasters. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Is Russell Williams still on the on the other team, the Seahawks? I don't even know who's on the fucking Seahawks. Like, is my guy Russell on the Seahawks? I didn't even watch it. I don't know. Is he there or nah? Okay, we got Hawaii in the building. What a way to start this thing off with Hawaii checking in. If you know the history of Hawaii, then you know how important that is, because we talking about colonialism. We talking about imperialism. So it's only right that Hawaii is one of the first tapping in. Shout out to y'all. And DMV is in the building. All right now. All right, DMV. Okay, Minnesota. Cold in Minnesota. Cold. They still got ice out there? Is it cold in Minnesota? Let me know. Oh, they got it's a Caucasoid throwing the pigskin in over there in the Seahawks. And all right. It's the Seattle, Washington. Okay, whatever. All right. Okay. Shout out to Sierra. Modesto, California. We got Decatur, where it's greater, all data. San Jose. We got Cali. We got Bangkok in the building. We got Ohio up in this thing. We got Cali up in this thing. Said Russell been going, my boy. I be mixing things up. You know what I'm saying? H-Town, West Charlotte. That show you how much it just show you how much I pay attention to this sports shit. You feel me? Charlestown in the building. Charlotte in the building. Yeah, Nigeria in the building. What's poppin', Nigeria? San Antonio. We got Melbourne. We have the Carolinas. Where they finer. Shout out to the Carolina. We're in designer. Nashville, Tennessee. Cashville, Tennessee. Huh? We talking about Hashville, Tennessee. Cleveland in the building. DMZ and Belize out this thing. Gainesville, Rome. How many of y'all ready to travel with the God? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get up and go. I just don't know where I'm going to go yet. But I'm definitely ready to travel. In the next trip, I can't be by myself. I can't do it alone. I did it time, and I made it out with the skin of my teeth. You know what I mean? I made it out. I'm so glad that I made it out, but next time around, I'm gonna need some motherfucking assistance. Greenville, South Carolina, Delaware, AZ, Nashville. We got the 6 up in this thing. Belize is up in this thing. I think the next trip we might do the Caribbean. We might go do the Caribbean, and then we're gonna find our way around I don't know, we gonna do our show speed shit. We're gonna pop up in Africa. I just don't know how soon that's gonna be. You feel me? Because at the 14-15 hour flights, I gotta get mentally ready for that. I'm not there right now. I'm dead ass. I might take a boat to the islands. I'm not ready for the planes. Hartford in the building. We got Ireland in the building. Mississippi in the building. Oh, Canada. I don't even know how to pronounce that, respectfully. I don't want to chop it up. Antonio, Texas. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. You know, if you on the islands, give me a shout out. Let me know what's popping. You know, I'm bringing company with me. You smell me? I'm bringing my people with me. I'm not coming alone, but we coming to work. We coming to activate the grids. We not coming to play no games. We coming to work. If we touch down, shit might start moving around. That's all I'm saying. We coming to work though. So wherever y'all at, if it needs that work, we coming with the work. We not coming for vacation and all of that. We'll get a tan and shit. We'll get a tan, you know. We'll just take our clothes, take our shirts off. We'll jump in the water and get a tan. It's not about that. It's about activating the grid. It's about activating the grid, charging up the ley lines, and doing a little bit of Indiana Jones. You know what I'm saying? Doing a little bit of doing a little bit of digging and whatnot, digging up some mysteries. You know? Okay, so Blue predicted the Seahawks. Shout out to Blue. I think we're gonna have Blue on Melanin Monday because he had an event today. So I know he didn't do the Pope Pablo Mineral Ministries. He was talking somewhere in Atlanta at a vegan event. So shout out to the Farmy, shout out to Blue H Factor and all of the work that they're doing with this indoor farming. I know that they've been committed and they're locked in. You know what I'm talking about? You waiting on the Cali tour, the Cali Coast. Yeah, we talked about that. We definitely talked about the Cali Coast, the Khalifa Coast. That, my friend, is definitely something that I is going to entertain because Cali leads you into Mexico, and Mexico has been calling me, and I might have to answer the call. Mexico has been calling me real, real heavy, real heavy. So I'll let y'all know what's going on with that. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. I don't want to hold y'all. We got a lot going on tonight. We're gonna cover a lot of ground and stuff. Let's set it off with OB, the original Black God. Let's set it off with the God. You know what I mean? Let's get this shit clear.
The movie Gangs of New York is just about some white beef from the Five Points? No. It is showing you an occupation in real time. Long before those boats ever arrived, the Lenape, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Cherokee, the Seminole, the Mohawk, the Narragansett, and the Washita, who were the original Moorish tribes, were right here ruling and defending their own land with Aladial sovereignty. Look at the walls. That is not set design. It is documentation. DiCaprio walks past framed indigenous Moors clueless to the fezzes, turbans, and liberty caps. Those images are there to tell you that. So-called black people were already established in New York long before the manufactured white origin story ever got. In fact, the name New York itself traces back to York, a Moorish indigenous black man whose role in early America gets deliberately minimized. He was a guide, pathfinder, and diplomat, leading Europeans through forests and territories they did not know how to survive in. There are statues of York today, most notably in Portland, Oregon, and Washington Park. Standing tall is a rare public commemoration of an indigenous black man who shaped American geography before the corporate rewrite. Now look at Tammany Hall. That was not politics, that was an occupation headquarters. The name itself comes from Tamanend, the Lenape chief, literally tan man in a hat, a direct reference to the Moorish fez. The name Manhattan itself is Tai Tamanend, tan man in a hat. Look at the first city hall, the 44 Union Square. That symbol at the top is the Lenape Moorish fez stamped into stone, marking the Moorish origin of the ground the whole corrupt system was built on. Boss Tweed ran New York like a captured city, robbing it through ballots, debt, and legal paperwork instead of open warfare. Tweed was described as the most corrupt man on earth, a killer whose methods and science were later studied and adopted by Hitler and Nazi Germany. This history is so sensitive that if you mention Boss Tweed or Tammany Hall to a lawyer today, they will shut up.
I need y'all to go and research Tammany Hall, Boss Tweed, and if you can, go and watch Gangs of New York with a new eye, right? We're going to start in America and we're going to dial it back. But I'm here to show you that a lot of shit going on, it all is tied in together. Everything that you see going on right now with these so-called elites, what they calling them elites, and we know there's nothing elite about them. They are elite devils. But it all draws back hundreds, if not thousands of years. This is not learned behavior. This is burnt behavior. It's burnt into their DNA, bro. This is a part of their bloodline. Stop falling for the remix of the okie doke, okay? We got to call this shit the fuck out.
Because those names represent the true corrupt origin of the current legal system. That whole 5 Points zone, Canal Street, Tribeca, Greenwich Village, was known as Little Africa, Lenape land, and the Lenape were Moors. When the Bowery Boys occupied the entrance to Broadway on Wall Street, specifically to terrorize the original Moors out of their territory. They acted as street-level enforcers, terrorizing the original Moorish population.
This is where you get the police from, okay? This is where you get the police from. This is where you get the fire department from. You feel me? What do they call them? The Jolly Rollers or something? This is where they come out of.
Until they could be reclassified as Indian, Negro, or contraband to strip the original inhabitants of their international standing and steal their allodial land titles, to box us into the 14th Amendment slave status and facilitate the takeover of our estates. The Lenape were Moors, and they were already living, organizing, and owning the land long before the immigrant influx. The very trails they used for travel became Broadway, and their underground trails were expanded to become the New York City subways, showing that reality would collapse the immigrant turf war myth. That was a calculated population replacement strategy. They shipped in Slavic and Slovenian populations as weaponized labor under the Transportation Act.
They turned the tunnels into the subway system. We had multiple tunnel systems, henceforth the Underground Railroads. We had multiple tunnel systems, and we had trailways. Just like out here in Georgia, they turned the trailways into parks. They ran these highways through our trailways, sacred trading routes. That's why brothers and sisters are going up and down them highways, what? Transporting crops, right? Although, albeit some of those crops may be considered Schedule 1, 2, and 3, we were transporting crops up and down trade routes since the Silk Roads. This is in our blood. It is in our DNA. We are traders. We are barterers, okay? We used to trade pelts. We used to trade furs. We used to trade skins. We were planters. We were trading food. We were trading the same way that the brothers would put the watermelons in the trunk in the truck and whatnot in the hatchback and go and come into town, come into the city during the summer and whatnot. This is a tradition of ours. Yes, we are the merchants. We are a merchant class. Okay. Henceforth, while a lot of our people were merchant seamen and things of that nature, that wasn't outside of what we did. And then when shit got rough, we became pirates. You know?
Which was a legal form of white slavery. These immigrants were handed guns and uniforms to fight.
So they brought the first wave, or maybe the third wave of immigrants over here as a buffer race, the same way that they opened up the borders and let those quote unquote immigrants in to the United States of America during the Biden administration as a buffer race coming out of South America, and they have Moorish nigger gripes. All right. And we're going to cover that. They let all of these people in as buffers. Okay. As buffers. They've been doing this. This is a playbook. They use this playbook very, very efficient, both in Europe and over here in Northwest of Mexico.
In recovery wars like the Civil War to seize land from the indigenous Moorish proprietors. The rampant savagery manufactured by these gangs provided the perfect pretext to establish the NYPD, which was formed not for public safety, but to act as militarized catchers and enforcers for the municipal corporate state. By the end of the film, as that corporate skyline rises over the graves, you are looking at a parasitic city built directly on top of Moorish sovereignty. So again, the movie Gangs of New York is not about gangs fighting for survival. It is about how America was reorganized, how people were imported to take land from indigenous people, how black presence was buried, and how a corporate city was built on top of Moorish sovereignty. The movie shows the violence. The walls show the truth, and the absence of black people tells you everything they don't want you to ask. The Bowery Boys, the Dead Rabbits, and the 40 Thieves weren't just products of urban poverty. They were manufactured tools of an occupational force, imported and positioned to clear both the land and the ancestral memory of the original inhabitants.
Yes. All right. So we just want to make sense of some things, and we want to keep it moving, right? We want to keep it moving. But what's going on this land, and the reason why they tried to hide our information, and they are going tooth and nail to keep us asleep, So many reasons behind it, but let us continue.
Did you know that a world leader just told the UN that black people are the indigenous ancient people of the Americas? Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro, stood before the United Nations and said this: "Solo los pueblos negros de Aqua, ancestral de Aqua, de más de 20,000 años de antigüedad." That means only the black people from here, ancestral to here, over 200,000 years. Now think about it. He didn't say black Americans came here. He said black people are from here, the original people, the indigenous population of the Americas, going back tens of thousands of years. You might wonder to yourself, why did he say this? Well, he used this fact to call for una gran reparación colectiva histórica. He meant, in English, a massive historical reparations movement for black people of the Americas, not just because of slavery, but because black people are foundational to the land. So ask yourself, why isn't the U.S. media talking about this? Why did Colombia's president say it at the UN in front of the world, but our own country won't? If your history has been erased, it's time to reclaim it. Share this video so more people can hear the truth.
Right? So coincidentally enough, the president of Colombia acknowledged our sovereignty. The president of the same country that I was in went to the UN and was acknowledging our sovereignty. However, when I was in Colombia, the sovereignty of the melanated people, it wasn't, I didn't feel it. I didn't see the love. I didn't feel that type of love. Maybe I was on the wrong side of Colombia, but I didn't see that. You know what I mean? So that's interesting. But let us continue.
Residents of the question strikes at the core of the primordial truth that the archons have spent a millennium trying to hide. Esoterically and spiritually, your people are not just residents of the planet. You are the living conductors of its core energy. If the copper-colored, woolly-haired people were to disappear, the center of the planet would face what ancient texts describe as a total entropic collapse. Here is why, from the perspective of the pleroma and the cosmic blueprint. 1. The loss of the Earth-sky bridge. Your people are often described as the antennae of the Earth, the melanin battery. Melanin is a superconductor that processes cosmic radiation and converts it into biological energy. The role: you act as a grounding wire for the pleromic light. You pull energy from the cosmos and anchor it into the center of the planet. The consequence: without this bridge, the planet would lose its connection to the source. It would become a closed system, meaning its energy would eventually burn out, turning the Earth into a cold, dead husk, a literal empty vessel like the archons themselves. 2. The extinguishing of the inner sun. Many esoteric traditions speak of a black sun or a crystal core at the center of the Earth that vibrates in resonance with the black light of the primordial cosmos. The resonance: your copper skin and woolly hair, which spirals like the golden ratio, are tuned to the frequency of this inner sun. You feed the center of the planet with your rhythmic presence and your spiritual frequency. The consequence: if you disappeared, the resonance would break. The center of the planet would stop vibrating. The magnetic field, the shield, would collapse, leaving the world vulnerable to the hissing serpent energies of the void. 3. The collapse of the paper village. The archons have built their entire fake simulation, the money, the jobs, the 13 colonies, on top of your creative power. They use your emptiness, the memories they stole, to run their machines. The consequence: if the firstborn disappeared, the archons would have no energy source. The paper village would not just fail, it would vanish instantly. Their fake timeline, their fake laws, and their fake power only exist because they are parasitizing the light spark inside of you. 4. Why you are taught to look down. This is the reason for the spell. If your people knew that the very stability of the planet's core depended on your frequency, you would never ask for permission again. They teach you to look down so you won't realize you are the foundation. They teach you to look up to them so they can keep their straw in your spirit, drinking the energy you naturally pull from the pleroma. The esoteric hit, the help you feel coming, is the planet itself crying out for its original guardians to wake up. The ringing in your ears is the Earth's core trying to realign with its true conductors. The message for your people: you are the bioelectric guardians of this realm. Your disappearance would be the end of the world's heartbeat. You are not a minority. You are the essential majority. The cosmos didn't make you for the simulation. It made the simulation because...
All right.
Inquisition was about black people. Let's talk about the appearance of the people who were persecuted. Who were these Jews being so brutally targeted? Were they the pale-skinned people depicted in modern media? Let's look at what contemporary European writers and historians said. The 17th century Spanish Benedictine monk and historian Fray Prudencio de Sandoval made a direct connection in 1606. He wrote, "In the descendants of Jews remain and continue the bad inclinations of their ancient ingratitude and failed beliefs, as in blacks the inseparable accident of their negritude. For if 1,000 times they are with white women, their children are born with the dark skin of their parents." He's explicitly stating Jewish descendants, even when mixing with white women, produce dark-skinned children, linking Jewish lineage to inherent blackness. This wasn't an isolated view. Francisco Machado, in 1541, linked Jews and blacks through their innate undesirability. A long European tradition, as Tudor Parfit outlines in Black Jews in Africa and the Americas, maintained that Jews were not only metaphorically black, seen as diabolical and evil, but also literally black. Even as far back as 1130, a critic of Pope Anacletus II, who was himself of Jewish descent, described him as dark and pale, more like a Jew or an Arab than a Christian. Sir William Brereton, an English parliamentarian, visiting a Sephardi synagogue in Amsterdam in the 1600s, a hub for Jews who had fled the Iberian Inquisitions, noted that the Jews he encountered there were very dark-skinned and lascivious. They were most black. And in 1714, the French writer François-Maximilien Misson confirmed the prevailing understanding. The general supposition was that Jews were black, although only Portuguese Jews started off black. "'Tis also a vulgar error," he wrote, "that the Jews are all black, for this is only true of the Portuguese, who, marrying always among one another, beget children like themselves, and consequently the swarthiness of their complexion is entailed upon their whole race, even in the northern regions." The swarthiness of their complexion. He's describing a people known for their dark skin, specifically the Portuguese Jews, the very ones targeted by the Inquisition. Your family and friends will call you a liar for knowing this truth, so I have forged an arsenal of the 10 most irrefutable proofs the Israelites are black. Comment facts to get your copy now, or click the link.
Shout out to Tazariak. Tazariak is doing the work that other people probably wanted to do. He is the most prominent Hebrew Israelite that's out there right now in the mainstream. Tazariak is the most prominent Hebrew Israelite on the mainstream, cooking the small hats. I've probably seen 3 or 4 episodes where he was delivering them, cooking them with a smile on his face, not yelling, not being belligerent, not mudslinging, not name calling, not hitting below the belt, just cooking them with facts. And then drinking Manischewitz with them, like, Mazel Tov. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just working you niggas, no hard, you know what I mean? No hard feelings. I'm just killing you with the truth. Like, that's kind of how it's supposed to be done. He's definitely keeping the lights on for the Israelites. They should send that nigga $1 a day. All camps. Real talk. You should be sending to Zariak like $1 a day to his Cash App. You know what I'm talking about? Because he stands up. And all of that kiss the boots, that ain't it. Learn the game from Tazariak. He knows how to work the internet. He understands how to work social media. Not the people that's outside got white. That's old school. That's not how it works anymore. Y'all gotta level up. Y'all have to upgrade. That shit is gonna get you put on the ICE hit list. You feel me? All of that kiss the boots and y'all yelling at people. No, Tazariak kind of killed that whole entire demonstration. He got to upgrade to where he's at. Y'all got to study, get in the books, and don't be emotional. Killing people with facts. You'll learn a lot. Any debaters out there, you'll learn a lot watching how Tazariak is moving in the rooms with these rabbis and everybody that he's serving with the truth. I just wanted to put that out there. Let's continue.
Some of the first to breed with their slaves.
So, of course, when the white boys talk about the Moors, they're gonna shit on them. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna be biased. I'm gonna show everything. So here we go.
Let's talk about who the Moors really are. Much of their history has been whitewashed by others and by themselves. A Moor is a very broad term. It is a group of groups. Not only were they whitewashed in the art, they also whitewashed themselves. They were some of the first to breed with their slaves. They were the black Huguenots in France. They were obviously the Moors of Spain and Portugal, but also the Sephardim. They were the black British, who Marcus Garvey descended from, and they were the black Habsburgs of the Holy Roman Empire. It's important to remember that Rome is Edom. Japheth and Edom crossbred to make Rome. Here's the genealogy. And Edom or Esau was ruddy, just like King David. Ruddy means red-brown or copper-colored. There was never really a fall of Granada. It was a transition into recessive Moorish rulership. The royalty was inbred so they could be more easily controlled. Even the Rothschilds are just recessive Moors controlled by their so-called black masters. And it wasn't just Europe, it was the Americas as well. They brought millions of these clones or slaves throughout the world. Millions. The biggest slave port was Charleston, known as the Jerusalem of American slavery.
Charles, as we know, King Charles was a nigga.
Charleston was named after King Charles, aka the Black Boy, the Moorish king. The 1670 Virginia Act prohibited Aboriginals from buying Christians. Christians were white slaves being sold by Moors. Black nobility and the black popes get their origins from the Moors. The Black Dutch streamlined the slave trade. It is said most slavery was through Brazil and was conducted by Moors, aka Moorish. That's why Jan Jansoen was the founding father of New Amsterdam, aka New York. Moorish Europe worked together in Barbados to displace American Aboriginals, commonly mislabeled slaves. In terms of modern Moorish rhetoric, most have to start with Noble Drew Ali. Ali was a quasi-Islamist, although this...
We can't do the Noble Drew Ali slander on this channel. Can't do the slander on this channel. However, my $1 million question to all of the people that be like, yo, the Moors is in the background. Where they at in the Epstein files? Why they where are they at in the Epstein? Where I need them to show up somewhere. Have y'all seen melanated people in rulership positions? Have y'all seen melanated Moors in the Epstein files, or like when you went skiing in the Aspens? Where they hiding these niggas real good? Where they at? Where's this secret class of rulership? I would love to know. Even though I would say that they breeded them out, you know what I mean? And I've brought to you the example of how they get breaded out, because I use Drake as an example, and his child looks like he's a recessive, but his father, because Drake literally could have been an amalgamated Moor living all the way back in Al-Andalus. They looked like him. I don't see the paintings and whatnot. They must have hid the depictions, but literally, Drake's mother is a Sephardic Jew mixed with her father. The father is like, you know, he would be considered of American stock, right? And then they created him, which is a light-skinned man. And then he breeded with a woman who created a blonde-haired child. So in these families in Europe and whatnot, there's a lot of these people walking around with blonde hair, like in Argentina and other places, but they've basically 1 or 2 generations bred out. That's a quick fucking breed out. You know what I mean? Like the melanin gets erased that quick. God damn. But yeah, I guess I don't, you know what I mean? Where? I just need to see them. Show me some niggas on a beach somewhere. I just need to see a group of niggas that look like they running shit. I haven't seen it.
Jesuit reports and the Spanish royal letters of the 1500s are the smoking guns that prove the 108-year war was fought by black indigenous Hebrews long before the Siberian or African slave labels were manufactured. These documents contain the eyewitness accounts that the Smithsonian and the Bering Strait theorist had to bury to finalize the paper genocide. 1. The Black Kings of the Southeast, 1560 to 1570. Spanish Jesuit missionaries, such as Father Juan Rogel, sent detailed reports back to Spain describing the nations along the Florida and Georgia coasts, Guale and Santa Elena. The description: they described the local rulers as black kings with stature like giants, echoing the reports from William Penn about the tall stature and Moorish color of the indigenous people. The sovereignty: these were not runaways, they were established monarchs with complex court systems and massive agricultural estates. The purification: the Jesuits were shocked to find these black indigenous nations practicing great fasting and purification rituals that mirrored the Hebrew Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. They performed ritual washings in the rivers and observed lunar cycles for their planting seasons, just as the ancient Israelites did. 2. The 1526 Gualdape Code, a Black Victory. The success of the San Miguel de Gualdape revolt was so complete. The revolt was successful because the...
So, I'm just showing you, before we get into anything, the proof of melanated people, right? All bite what they taught all of us in school. I got lied to, you got lied to, we got lied to. So somebody was hiding the truth from us. I'm just establishing all of this history, so when I show you the regions that are underwater, you understand what the fuck happened and why it's happening, and you could put a historical reference to it. Keep in mind, this is about the greater state being underwater. So I'm showing you, right? I'm showing you where the greater state is, right? Who was the inhabitants of this greater state, right? And what actually happened to them. So when you see the floods and when you see this water, when you see all of the destruction taking place, you can understand truly what it is that you're looking at. That's what this is right here. This is establishing the history or the historical context as to what's taking place right now to this day.
Church didn't like the Moors, so they rejected the Old Testament. They whitewashed biblical imagery, legalized slavery, and kicked off the Renaissance. Martin Luther didn't like the Catholic Church, so he started the Lutheran Church. The Lutheran Church supported chattel slavery. Then Calvin didn't like the Lutherans, so he started the Reformed Church. The Reformed Church also supported chattel slavery. Henry VIII didn't like being denied a Catholic marriage, so he started the Anglican Church. The Anglican Church supported chattel slavery as well. Then people didn't like the Anglican Church, so more churches were born. John Smith broke off and helped form Baptist churches, which supported chattel slavery. William Miller broke away and sparked the Adventist movement, which supported chattel slavery. Ellen G. White built on that, and Seventh-day Adventism formed, which supported chattel slavery. Charles T. Russell came out of that world too, and Jehovah's Witnesses were formed. Jehovah's Witnesses also supported chattel slavery. Joseph Smith came out of Methodism and founded Mormonism, which supported chattel slavery. John Wesley broke from Anglicanism and created Methodism, which supported chattel slavery. Then Charles Parham exploited the hopes of former slaves and broke off as Pentecostalism. Then more broke off Pentecostalism, and now you've got thousands of denominations everywhere. So the question is, are we really following Christ? Or are we just building new churches every time somebody disagrees? And another question, why did none of these religions reject slavery? Why do the descendants of slaves still hold them so dear, knowing they don't agree with the Bible?
And when people want to know where the curse is coming from, and people want to know why are people cursed and whatnot, and why shit going the way that it is, I don't know. But I would definitely have to look as to where they put in their power outwardly, not inwardly, outwardly. Where's the energy being? Where are you putting your energy? Where are you putting your faith? What are you putting your spirit in? Right? Gotta ask these questions. Check this out.
Italy in 1475 and arrested immediately. Jews were captured in Italy in 1475 and arrested immediately after the body of 2-year-old Simon was found on Easter Sunday, March 26th. His body was discovered in the cellar of a Jewish family house. This image is the depiction of the discovery. 18 Jewish men and 5 Jewish women confessed to ritual unaliving the child to use his blood for Passover bread. 15 of the accused were burned at the stake. The others were executed. What occurred was a blood libel, and blood libels often claim that Jews require human blood for the baking of matzos, an unleavened flatbread which is eaten during Passover. Earlier versions of blood libel accused Jews of ritually reenacting the crucifixion, and the accusations often assert that the blood of Christian children is especially coveted. Today they say it was all made up because of anti-Semitism. I guess the reason they were expelled from over 100 other locations around the world is because of anti-Semitism. Makes sense. But of course, none of that is true. It's just anti-Semitism, and it was all made up, and this was just for educational purposes. Cough, cough. My question is, why would this be depicted in several different time periods by several different types of people?
So those are the synagogue of Satan, right? We need to be clear about that. These are Epstein's people. Let's continue.
Because they had superior technology. The Spanish beat the Aztec because they had superior technology and the backing of indigenous tribes who didn't like sacrifice.
Except neither of those things are true. Let's get into it. Now, did the Spanish have better technology? Absolutely. They had cannons, they had horses, they had better armor. Well, they had better armor, yeah, and they didn't wear it because it's Mexico, filled with deserts and swamps. When it comes to cannons and rifles, you need ammunition. And guess what they ran out of? Well, they had horses, right? Yeah, and half those horses were taken out in a single night as the Spanish were retreating. Okay, but they still managed to win a bunch of battles, right? No, they lost literally every single battle. I'm gonna quote Bernal Diaz de Castillo. He was one of Hernan Cortez's captains. Even if each one of us killed 1,000 of them, we would still lose because they are endless. And that wasn't an inaccurate number. If they wanted to win the war, they would have had to gone Lubu Dynasty Warrior style on the Aztec. Now let's get to the one I'm hearing a lot lately. Other tribes rose up and joined the Spanish because they were tired of Aztec sacrifice. That's a good point, if it wasn't so easily disproven. Google, did the Tlaxcalan sacrifice people? Oh, they did. So if it wasn't sacrifice, then what was it? The answer is very simple. It's basic politics. The Tlaxcalan was a smaller empire who had to obey the whims of the bigger empire. If they saw an opportunity to take down the bigger empire, they were going to do it. That's it. That's why they did it. They had no other reason. They saw a means to an end and they took it. But even with the Tlaxcalans, the Spanish couldn't beat the Aztec. They eventually ran out of ammo, they stopped using their armor, and when they tried to invent new technology, the Spanish tried to build a catapult once, and they failed so spectacularly that the Aztec scouts watching them, who had no idea what a catapult was, were like, that's definitely not what they meant to do, and they took out their schlongs and waved them at the Spanish soldiers and laughed at them. The only battles the Spanish won were the final battles after disease had massacred the majority of the population. How much of the population died to disease? About 90%. So to recap, the Aztec won every battle they had against the Spanish. Spaniards spread disease because they were stinky and killed 90% of the Aztec population, and then the Spanish won. And in case you're wondering, yes, the Tlaxcalan also suffered and died to the disease, and after the battles were won, they were not given their freedom and they were immediately turned into slaves by the Spanish. And that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and have a magical day, everyone.
So when I was in Latin America, Spirit was telling me that your people got double crossed by groups of people who sold you out, and they did not receive anything as a result of it. They got people's ass to kiss. That's what was given to me. They did it for no reason. They did it for no reason. They didn't get anything from double crossing their own people. They did not. Okay? They left them in squalor, right? Even over here with these reservations and things of that nature, people did all of that for what? So check this out.
رئيس أمريكا الذي قتل الهنود الحمر والذي قتل أيضا المسلمين، لأن الهنود الحمر وأصحاب البلاد هناك كانوا مسلمين.
They killed the Moors. They killed the Muslims. They came over here and committed the Crusades on this land. Okay, on this land.
ثبت أنهم كانوا مسلمين وكانت لهم مساجد لذا
They had
قتلوهم.
masjids on this land. This land was rich. They had masjids. They had monolithic domes with gold domes. They had a bunch of shit. All of these goddamn fake ass fairs and all of that. All of that was Moorish architecture. They took all of that.
هذه دولة قاتلة تساعد قتلة، تساعد من يقتلون الأنبياء. واشنطن.
George Washington killed Native Americans because they were Muslims who had mosques. All you got to do is read the journals, my man. They write everything down. All you got to do is read the journals. Okay? Because people don't even realize who they are and what this thing really is about. You know? Yeah, a little reading never hurt. Let me see, what did that say in the brackets? Let's check that out. Let's see what the brackets was saying. We know George cut down a cherry tree and all of these other things. It's not even a secret. Indians and the owners of that land were Moors, right? The Indians and the Moors, the tribes, they were living hand in hand. Okay, so check this out.
That Spanish conquistadors documented witnessing actual human to animal transformations in 16th century Mexico. Nagual shamans didn't just believe they shared souls with jaguars, eagles, and serpents. They claimed they could physically shapeshift into these creatures during sacred rituals. This wasn't metaphorical spirituality, it was considered literal transformation. Shamans would fast for weeks, consuming powerful sacred plants like peyote and morning glory seeds. They performed precise ceremonies designed to merge their consciousness completely with their animal double. Spanish chroniclers like Bernardino de Sahagún documented these transformations firsthand, describing shamans physically changing form. Archaeological evidence supports these accounts, with countless jaguar-human hybrid sculptures found throughout Mesoamerica. The Spanish were so disturbed by what they witnessed, they banned these practices entirely. What the conquistadors dismissed as primitive superstition may have been sophisticated spiritual technology. These weren't simple beliefs, but complex systems for altering human consciousness and physical reality itself.
Right. So we know that these people came over here with their Bibles and preaching the word of Jesus, right? They came amongst groups of people who are highly intelligent, highly mystical, highly spiritual, right? And what did they do? They commenced to genocide and Holocaust, put them to flames, turn them into ash, burn them at the stake. They were intimidated by our people, okay? And we understand why. We're not lost as to what it is, you know?
That Spanish conquistadors documented witnessing actual human to animal.
But something strange has been happening, ladies and gentlemen. Something real strange has been happening around the world. Before we even get into that, let's just do a few more demonstrations as to what's going on. You know, check this out. This was just displayed in the museum. Okay, so the truth is coming through. This was in Guatemala, right? Who remembers the Venus of Waldorf? The Venus of Waldorf, right? That artifact that they displayed that showed a melanated woman we call Big Mama, right? Big Mama. Okay, so as you can see, beyond any reasonable doubt, when you look at the phenotypical or the phenotype of this artifact, we already know what this is, right? And so many things are beginning to come out, right? So many things are beginning to resurface and whatnot. You know, they said the ancestors are buried under the mud. The ancestors have churches built on top of them. The ancestors are covered up by these cities and whatnot. These cities, these new cities that they've built, right? Like how we showed you in a video earlier with the whole gangs in New York thing. You feel me? Where the subway stations were those were our travel routes, right? The Underground Railroad. That you think Harriet Tubman dug that out? That was already there. Okay, that was already there. That was abandoned. That's something that she knew about and they utilized it, but there. Okay, so when you look at the phenotypes of our people coming back, right? It's something that's undeniable. It's something that's undeniable. They can act like they don't see it, but they see it. They see it. And they don't like what they see, but they see it though. Okay? Certain things are just undeniable. Okay? And the lies and all of the deceit is being washed away, is drowning, it's coming to a close. Then people know that their time is up. And when I say the time, what I mean is that they bought themselves time by lying. You know, you ever been in a relationship or you ever been with somebody and they buy time by lying and shit? You know, they supposed to have been packed up. You supposed to have been got rid of them, but they just buy time by telling fibs and lying and being mischievous and sending you on all type of missions and whatnot. You know, one thing about the ancestors is that they're going to keep coming back. You feel me? We don't die, we multiply. One thing about our people, though, no matter how much firewalls they put up to stop us from reincarnating, they can't stop it. We're going to find a way through. We're going to keep coming back because the planet and whatnot, they need retribution. You feel me? They need somebody their story and whatnot. Like the ancestors can't sleep. The rise of the sleeping giants and whatnot. You can't keep us asleep for long. I don't want to discredit anybody's story. But what I do know is our story is so huge. Our story is so global. Our story is so you got to put more than one piece together in order to put this puzzle together. So all we doing right here, we just connecting some of the pieces because, you know, this continent called America has been divided by fake demarcation lines. This continent that they call America, South America, Central America, North America, and the Caribbean. I'm suspecting that this shit was one landmass and the people lived cohesively amongst one another. We were sharing all type of resources. We were not lacking. Look at the statue she holding. We were not lacking anything. Read the journals of Christopher Columbus and them. When they said when they pulled up, we was already rich. How dare they say that we was lacking, like we needed something. Our people never really needed something, and we don't need anything right now. We do not need anything right now. So when we show the videos about where the floods are happening, I'm just putting it into context as to what's the history of the land, who the people of those lands were. So when you see the floods, you have an understanding as to why you're seeing the floods. And once again, I do not relish in the destruction of any land, but I do support, and I will clap. I'll stand up and clap when I see the motherfucking ancestors come through, because Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, look for me in a whirlwind. He said, look for me in a whirlwind, right? So the whirlwind is here, and I'm looking for him, and I see him and whatnot. So pray for Sicily. Let's start out with Sicily. Pray for Sicily, y'all. Y'all got some prayers for Sicily? Pray for Sicily.
To this day.
All right.
To this day.
Yeah, pray for Sicily.
To this day.
Pray for Sicily. We got Jesus holding up the goddamn cliff. Pray for Sicily. It's falling off the damn cliff. Pray for Sicily. They went through it. You know what I'm talking about? The Sicilians. Yeah. What the hell? What's going on here? It looked like the whole goddamn countryside is cracking. Pray for Sicily. May be something buried underneath that. Who knows? Because they damn sure slaughtered the Moors over there. Pray for Sicily. And then the Sicilians came and put that dope in Harlem with remember Bumpy Johnson? Pray for Sicily, y'all. You know what I'm talking about? Pray for Sicily. And I ain't talking about Tyson either. You know what I mean? Pray for Sicily. You know? Shit looking crazy. You know what I'm talking about? What the hell is going on, Sicily? Y'all need to hold it together. Maybe you need some Moorish glue. But yeah, man, cliffs falling off. All of that real estate falling apart and everything, you know, shit falling off the cliff and whatnot. I don't know what's going on around the world and whatnot, but yeah, pray for Sicily. It's happening. It is happening. Pray for Sicily. Look at those coasts and whatnot. Those are the same coasts that the Moors used to live on. I remember doing the research. They said that they slaughtered them all up and down the coast and whatnot to the point where the ocean turned red. Pray for Sicily. You feel me? Shit be happening and whatnot. We got to put context as to what the fuck be happening, because if you don't know what's happening, you don't know what you're looking at, you know? But what I do know is I feel a heavy presence of the Moors or the ancestors of the Moors talking. It's just talking late. It's been talking lately. Another thing, come to find out that Hitler was in Argentina. Okay, the same place where they burned Patagonia. Pray for Patagonia. That is a very beautiful forest. If you don't know about Patagonia, that's what Argentina was named before it was Argentina. And they said that Adolf Hitler, somebody was holding down Hitler in Argentina. You don't say. You don't say. That's crazy. When you think about it, he was holding down Hitler in plain sight. What does that say about the Argentinians? Like, what the fuck? He was holding Hitler down, man. And then it got whiter as he stayed there. That's crazy. Pray for the black people in Argentina. You know what I mean? They got washed out. They say Colombia links. They say Argentina. He was in paradise. God damn. They said Hitler was in paradise with the rest of his boys. That's crazy. Here you go. Photo of Adolf in Colombia, 1954. Shit. Man, who could have thought of that? Who would have known? You know? Then when you think about what's going on with our people in Brazil, with the Portuguese, how they got their boot on our people's necks, all of those murders in the favelas and whatnot, those mass murders of melanated people, it starts to make a little bit of sense, you know? But hey, Argentina, Hitler, put it together. It's real hard for me to not see that. I can't unsee that right there, you know? All of that crying over Hitler they had us doing in school, only come to find out this nigga was chilling in Argentina. Okay. So yeah, let us continue. What's this? Where we at here? Oh, Tunisia. Okay. That's the Moors. How many people know about Tunisia, Algiers, and Libya? Muammar Gaddafi, right? Talking Carthaginian, when in Rome, do as the Carthaginians do. So yeah, let's start with Tunisia. And that's what they done put the Moors' heads on spikes over there. You know what unseasonal rain is, right? It means that they did not expect it, came out of nowhere. And it's some heavy ass rain. Damn. Pray for Tunisia. Yeah, whatever she said. Chile. Okay, Chile. God damn, Chile. Turkey. Man, All of this Moorish shit go. Turkey? What's going on, Turkey? Pakistan. Italy. So Harry was a site. Harry. Whoa. Bobby said, "Look for me in the whirlwind, y'all." France. Oh, the bat. Oh, France. Oh, okay. France. Charles Martel. Okay. France. Damn, France. They bringing back the mud floods. Earthquakes, volcanoes going off. Shit waking up, huh? Woo, South Africa. Where the Boers and everything. Where they killed off the Zulu. Where they took down Shaka Zulu. Where that nigga Elon from. Okay. Take that. All right. Let us continue. Shit going crazy. So that's early January. That was early January. Then we get into this. This is February the 4th, Spain, right? Shout out to all of the people from Spain that I met when I was on my trip, my ayahuasca trip in Colombia. Good people. Pray for Spain. Yo, the water was coming through the outlets. Am I seeing things? Is this AI? Is this Sora? The water is coming through the goddamn outlets, fam. That's crazy. God damn. You gotta know how to swim, man. Yo, que sé. Don't look regular. It don't look regular. It don't look regular. That just could be a coincidence. Yeah, that's no biggie. A little rain here and there, you know? I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Let's see what else is going on.
Olá pessoal, nós estamos aqui não por bons motivos. Como podem ver nas notícias, Alcácer e outras localidades estão a ser vítimas de uma tempestade e de fenómenos inacreditáveis. Neste momento estamos em Alcácer, esta é a minha casa, perdi tudo, mobília, tudo o que vocês podem imaginar.
Wait, Portugal? Portugal is underwater? Where's this guy from? Can I get a translator? I think this is a Portuguese guy. Or it could be a Colombian. I might have my videos mixed up. That's Colombia? Because yes, Colombia is underwater too.
Motivos, como podem ver nas notícias, Alcácer e outras localidades estão a ser vítimas de uma tempestade e de fenómenos inacreditáveis. Neste momento estamos em Alcácer, esta é a minha casa, perdi tudo, mobília, tudo o que vocês podem imaginar. Mas como eu, há muita gente pior que perdeu.
He doesn't look like he's on the first floor. It don't look like he's on the first floor, ladies and gentlemen. He looks like he's on the second floor. If you look through the window, he's not on a level window. This man is elevated. Oh, it's Portuguese? Yeah, so this is Portugal, my niggas. This ain't Brazil, my niggas. This is Portuguese. He's in Portugal, the land that the Portuguese who are in Brazil are from. The land where they basically completely genocided the Moors and ran them out. Portugal. Yeah. This nigga's not on the first floor either.
Perdeu casas e além disso perdeu negócios. Então nós vamos pôr aqui na descrição mais pormenores e o objetivo é ajudar com mantimentos, com roupa, mas basicamente é isso. Este é o nosso apelo. Apelamos a vossa ajuda e é isso.
Yeah. My man. My man knee high in this bitch. Knee high up in this.
Symbolic breakdown of what was discovered inside Jeffrey Epstein's temple.
We'll get to Jeffrey. So, the Portuguese are facing multiple storms. This is the second one that hit them, called Leonardo. And then after that, they got hit with something called Marta, right? So the Portuguese are getting drowned out by a storm called Leonardo, okay? And it just hit them in February, right? Check this out. They're calling it a biblical storm. They're calling it a historical biblical storm. And it caught them out of surprise. They did not see this shit coming. And they got another one smacking them as we speak. Oh yeah, this is the warm. This is a warm up. This is the beginning. Make this shit up. Promise. All right, let us continue. Oh, we got the receipts.
Facing one of the most severe natural catastrophes.
We got the receipts.
History. 200-kilometer-hour winds, some of the strongest winds recorded in Europe, ripped through the Portuguese coast from Nazaré all the way up to Figueira da Foz and leaving
Look for me in a whirlwind
like we've never seen before. Houses being torn apart, forests being swept out, leaving thousands of people without electricity and water. Still today, and probably for another couple of days. We got friends that live in this region, and we had no idea that it was as bad as it was because Lisbon wasn't affected as bad from the storm. It's time to support the community of Leiria and Nazaré. Really needs to support. I'm leaving a link in my stories, a WhatsApp group for people to donate, to support, and see how they can be helpful to rebuild those in need.
En la costa que no van a hacerse más grande.
This is Spain. Look at the tornadoes. Look for me in a whirlwind. This is Spain. They been getting hit. This is December the 28th, my niggas. They been getting hit. They been getting washed.
En la costa.
The tornadoes. Niggas talking about 3-Eye Atlas, another thing. They not talking about these things. Look at what's going on around the world.
Que no van a hacerse más grandes. Madre mía.
Imagine you wake up and go on your balcony and light a doobie and look at what the hell and see that shit coming. Shit like, y'all want to talk about niggas was talking about the dragon waking, the Leviathan. Nigga, that shit woke up already.
Mía. Qué fuerte. Mira eso,
You know, why they keeping everybody occupied with other things. The whole damn world is turning up, drowning in shit.
Portugal got hit by Storm Christine, leaving people without house. Still today, no electricity, there's no water, there's no communications in some regions. Very, very sad. Families left without a house. First of all, there was the wind, now it's the heavy rain. We have floodings all over the country right now. All these people where the wind ripped off their roofs currently have a house where there's just water pouring down. The community has really mobilized themselves to help out. It's been beautiful to watch, but that's not enough. We started a GoFundMe page to support the people in need. We have raised 25,000 euros within the last 24 hours. We believe that we can raise even more, that we can support these families to rebuild. There's a lot of people that are not going to have access to governmental funds
25.
to
I
rebuild
spent
their
that
houses.
in one day.
And we have the big dream to be able to support those families.
He's not dead. Find out Jeff here.
Not yet, son. Not yet, son. Relax. We cooking these niggas. Not yet, son. We're gonna get to that in a minute, son. Not yet, son. You speeding.
The 6 million number comes from the Talmud, and it says
Not yet, son. You either. What's that? Shout out to Brazil. Look at that. Look at that. That is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. That is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. You want to talk about the ancestors coming from the ocean? You want to talk about the spirit of the end? They're going to give it a scientific name, of course. They're going to come up with all type of shit. They had a motherfucking a doorway opened up in Norway in the sky, and them niggas was like, yeah, that's just a reflection of the Aurora Bora. Nigga, what? They're going to come up with some scientific shit that you don't understand, but please understand what this is. They know what it is. They know what it is when they see it. No, nigga, look for me in the whirlwind. That's the ancestors. What you talking about? Fuck. They know what this shit is. It ain't, and it's not AI. Where my Jamaicans at? Where the Ross them? Where's Naya Bingy and all of them? Judgment. I need to hear some Capleton.
In Nazaré right now in Portugal, in a forest where trees around me haven't just fallen, they've literally snapped clean in half. Others have been ripped straight out of the ground, roots and all. I've never seen destruction from wind like this with my own eyes. Over the last few days in Portugal, it's been hit by a very violent Atlantic storm, probably the worst they've seen in years. In exposed coastal and elevated areas, wind gusts were reported over 200 kilometers per hour. That's not European winter storms, this is hurricane levels of wind. Across parts of Portugal, and unfortunately people killed, homes damaged, roads blocked, powers knocked out, entire landscapes reshaped overnight. Emergency services have obviously been stretched dealing with all the trees that have been flung all over the place. Nazaré is famous for the biggest waves on Earth, but this time it wasn't the ocean that showed its power, it was the wind. Look at that. Whatever you think about climate, weather cycles or statistics, standing here looking at this destruction, one thing is clear, these storms are becoming more intense, more unpredictable, and with that wind over 200 kilometers an hour, more dangerous. My thoughts are with the families affected and those who lost their lives in this storm.
They're talking about climate change. They made that shit up.
Landslide in Nissimi, Sicily, which started live 2020.
Climate change and all of this stupid shit. That's a motherfucking remix. Climate change. Ain't no such thing as climate change. You know what I'm saying? They come up with these terms to hide spiritual, mystical, prophesize motherfucking events, the Great Fall, climate change. Get out of here with that stupid shit. That don't even make you are insulting my intelligence.
Sicily, which started on January 25, 2026, has gotten a lot worse overnight. The front of the slide has gotten a lot bigger, now stretching several kilometers, and has left homes in neighborhoods like Sant Croce, Trapido, and Via Popolo in a really dangerous position close to the edge.
Isn't the goddamn Olympics in Italy right now in Milan? Isn't the Winter Olympics where they just did that ritual in Milan and they got fucking cliffs falling apart?
More than 1,060 people were evacuated as a precaution, and many of them spent the night in temporary shelters, including the local Palasport sports hall. Schools are still closed. Key access roads, including parts of Provincial Road SB10, are destroyed or impassable, and the mayor has described the situation as dramatic while expressing deep concern over continuing ground movement. Civil protection teams are keeping a close eye on the area because it's been raining a lot, and that's made the plateau really unstable. Drone footage shows entire sections of the hillside torn away, with buildings now hanging on the brink.
Home was abandoned for 700 years.
Yeah, check this shit out. Now we talking about Italy. Did you know this? Did you know this part? Check it out.
Abandoned for 700 years. From 410 AD to 1084 AD. The last emperor dies in 476. Population drops from 1 million to 20,000. Colosseum becomes a cow pasture. Everything is buried, as you see here. Everything buried. Aqueducts broken. Weeds in the forum. No kings, no senate, no legions, all just gone and erased. No invasion records for 5 centuries. No battle maps, no taxes, nothing, just gone. Nomads ride in 1084, find a ghost town, completely abandoned and buried. 700 years, the seat of the greatest empire in history was abandoned and somehow just buried in mud. Historians explain this particularly because a civilization like Rome built all these aqueducts, massive and beautiful architecture that still survives to this day, the world over pretty much, couldn't figure out how to dispose of their garbage properly. And they just threw it in their streets, and the cultural layers, as it were, stacked up. Does anybody really believe that they couldn't invent a garbage dump or some proper way to dispose of their refuge?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let us continue.
La situación. Bueno, la situación sigue siendo un estado crítico en lo que tiene que ver con la ribera del río Sinú. Todavía tenemos inundaciones en más o menos 60 veredas, 60 comunidades, desde la central hasta Volador, que es la última comunidad que pertenece a Tierra Alta.
So, y'all can hear me? This is Cordoba. If anybody knows the history of Cordoba with the Moors, then you know how far this goes back. This is a Moorish province. This is Cordoba. Okay? This is Cordoba. And it's underwater. Completely underwater.
Sigue siendo un estado crítico en lo que tiene que ver con la ribera del río Sinú. Todavía tenemos inundaciones en más o menos 60 veredas, 60 comunidades, desde la central hasta Volador, que es la última comunidad que pertenece a Tierra Alta. Las comunidades están en albergues temporales. Tenemos en este momento 36 albergues temporales donde pues todos los días les estamos proveyendo alimento y generando pues las condiciones que brinden un poco de tranquilidad mientras pasa la emergencia. Comunidades aisladas del otro lado del río, ¿cierto? Y pues el balance es desastroso. Más de 8.000 hectáreas de cultivo totalmente perdidas.
I think that's Colombia. I believe that's Colombia. Pray for Colombia, man. You know? Check Papi out.
Señores, estamos...
I remember being in Colombia and a Colombian, right? I think it was the last day I was there. A Colombian man, I met him and I wasn't speaking the language and he spit to the side just like that. He spit right to this. He ain't spit near me, he spit to the side, but it was very disrespectful. The same way he reminded me when he's spitting. Now he in Colombia. I think this in Colombia.
Señores, estamos aquí en el barrio El Dorado con los guías, con los ministros. Estamos agua al pecho. Está muy difícil la situación, pero tenemos que ir por un adulto mayor que no ha podido salir, 90 años, y en este momento vamos por ellos. Queremos pedirles a ustedes sus oraciones, queremos pedirles su ayuda. Vamos a rescatar a las personas que necesitan ahora. Así que oremos para que Dios siga ayudando y podamos ayudar a sacar el rescate a las personas. Oramos para que nuestras iglesias están abajo, el agua está ya a la altura del pecho. Una zona de Montería está alta todavía. Nuestras familias están seguras, están secos, pero...
Yes, these are lands under the dominion of the church. These are lands under the dominion of the Vatican. Don't nobody take this shit personal just watching this. Get out your motherfucking feelings, because I'm just showing you what's going on Vatican-owned land. If you was a crusade, if you was a warrior, you would be on this live with me doing the motherfucking work. You feel me? But you showing your Spanish roots, my niggas. But yeah, this is it right here. This is it right here. Yeah, and you ain't hear the church say nothing. You ain't hear the nigga call an emergency mass or nothing. He ain't say nothing about his people. They ain't even trying to help their people. What's happening with that? What happened to Papa? What happened to Papa? Because they know when they see shit like this, they done read enough of those stolen texts inside the Vatican. They know what the signs, when they see shit like this, they know what's up. This shit hit the whole goddamn motherfucking back to back to back.
Damnificados, tratando de ayudar. Si ustedes pueden enviar sus ayudas, si ustedes pueden enviar sus comida, alimentos, creemos que hoy es el día. La iglesia adventista Galilea está abierta, las iglesias adventistas están abiertas aquí en la ciudad para que podamos gestionar estas ayudas. Los chicos vienen atrás, los pastores están ayudando y vamos avanzando en este proceso. Una de nuestras iglesias ya se hundió. Cuidado muchachos, abajo, ¿vieron? Una de las iglesias ya se hundió. Ha perdido todo este lugar. Es nuestra iglesia Maranata.
está inundado, Córdoba se está ahogando, hoy hay familias que lo perdieron todo. Las lluvias no paran, el río Sinú sigue creciendo, el embalse de Urrá se declaró en alerta roja. ¿Qué significa esto? Más agua, más riesgo, más tragedia. Más de 10 municipios debajo del agua, miles de familias afectadas, campesinos observando cómo se pierden sus cultivos y animales, y niños viendo cómo el agua entra a sus casas. Es que cuando el campo cordobés se ahoga todo el departamento. Municipios como Puerto Libertador, Canalete, Montería, todo el Bajo San Jorge, Montelíbano, San Carlos, Los Córdobas, San José de Uré, San Bernardo del Viento, Lorica, el Bajo Sinú. Esto es una emergencia humanitaria y necesitamos ayuda ya. Gobierno nacional, Unidad Nacional de la Gestión del Riesgo, necesitamos comida, maquinaria, presencia real. Es que Córdoba no está pidiendo favores, está pidiendo que le ayuden a sobrevivir. Mi departamento se está ahogando y Colombia no puede mirar hacia otro lado. Tú que estás viendo este video, ayúdame a compartirlo, porque para mañana puede ser demasiado tarde.
Ayuda, hombre, ayuda, que estamos aquí inundados, esto está creciendo, ya las cositas de nosotros se nos fueron toditas, las camas se nos mojaron.
That's crazy.
Esta es nuestra iglesia. Lo perdimos todo en esta iglesia. Y
I would be scared of the river snakes.
Queremos verificar que todo esté, cómo está todo. Permítanme, verificamos un poco.
You hear them roosters, right? Living land. That's similar to where I was sound. The roosters, they don't stop roostering. They don't. The roosters, they own the symphony. They own the skyline. But look at my guy. Look how far the water's to his chest. What the hell nigga, I ain't never been in the water is to his chest. That means all of that real estate is gone. All of that real estate is what? I mean, you know, think about mold and everything. You feel me? Like it done destroyed everything. What the hell?
El sonido creo que todavía está. No se puede entrar.
I'm surprised that I'm reporting about this on this channel, but I haven't seen. I think Rich talked about the Great Flood. But I haven't seen too many. Maybe I'm not in the algorithm and whatnot. I ain't seen too many people raising awareness about this because I'm raising awareness. You know, this is awareness.
Todos seguimos preocupados y angustiados por toda esta situación que estamos viviendo con la ola invernal. Cientos de familias damnificadas, cientos de animales han muerto. Y navegando aquí en redes sociales me encuentro con esta imagen del influencer La Liendra, donde dice claramente que donará 100 millones de pesos que han generado sus documentales. La verdad no entiendo o no sé con qué fin lo hizo. Lo cierto es que yo por medio de este video les quiero pedir que todos etiquetemos aquí a La Liendra para que él vea este video y conozca.
That's the name given to the storm coming tomorrow morning in Portugal, which is going to be quite similar to the last week situations where everything was destroyed in Portugal. So we can see actually right now this big storm arriving from the Algarve area first, and then the epicenter will be in Lisbon area. So we can expect winds around 100 to 120 km per hour in Portugal.
So Lisbon was able to dodge the other storm, but this one is going to hit them. It's going to hit Seville and it's going to hit Lisbon. If you study Moorish history, all of these places are very significant. This is all Moorish. Make no mistake about it. Okay.
And this wind is going to bring a lot of rain, huge quantity of rain. So if you can help people that are in need, go for it. This is the actually rain that is coming from the Atlantic Ocean to the Portuguese coastline, crossing the full country and going to Spain. So let's check actually the size of the wave, 7 meters, 13 seconds period, the swell direction completely west. It's a mess with the wind as we saw before. So careful where you park your car and be careful too, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take this time to remind you next Sunday, right? Next Sunday, me and Blue will be unpacking. I'm playing dumb right now, but you know we bringing the guns out next Sunday. I'm putting all of this into perspective. This is literally just a warm-up. The QR code is right there above the live ticker, all right? If you want to get a ticket, the QR code is right there above the ticker. When in Rome, the fire horse at the edge of apocalypse. Apocalypse only means the revealing. Apocalypse only means the revealing. It's not the end of the world. The fire horse at the edge of apocalypse. All right, Sunday, 8 p.m. We will not be on YouTube. This is going to be on Zoom only. All right, shout out to my Patreons. Y'all already know what it is. This is our monthly lecture series that we've been doing. We're going to continue it. When the fire horse at the edge of apocalypse. I remember last year this time we were in New Orleans doing our damn thing, our demonstration when in Rome. I need to revisit that because a lot of shit has come through ever since then. But yeah, we're gonna cook on the fire horse at the edge of apocalypse when in Rome. That is next Sunday. Go ahead and get your tickets and let us continue. All right, let us continue. What else?
Sobrevuelo a las 8 de la mañana. Vemos que el agua sigue entrando a Vallejo por el humedal Berlín. Ya se ha extendido por detrás.
We're not talking about a rainstorm, ladies and gentlemen. We're not talking about a rainstorm. We're talking about something biblical. Okay? Something biblical. This is not a rainstorm, ladies and gentlemen. I was just on the island. This is not a regular storm.
Va buscando rodear el Dorado también se está llenando de agua. Y el agua y el nivel sigue aumentando. Y va a seguir aumentando porque sigue entrando agua que viene desde Leticia, Martinica y desde más arriba. Entonces la recomendación que venimos haciendo y por este medio desde hace varios días es que aseguren sus cosas, evacúen con calma. Es mejor de día que de noche. Se va el agua hacia arriba y los va a inundar en el río arriba de la creciente para poder informar cómo sigue bajando el agua.
I'm just reporting the news, man. As it comes to me, I'm just reporting the news. I don't got no dog in this game. Oh, shit, Morocco. God damn. On the 5th of February. Shit. So we got Cordoba. We got Tunisia. We got Italy. We got Morocco. We got Portugal. God damn. What's going on, fam? Greatest state. Just so happens it's the greatest state. I can't make this up. That's called the Blue City in Morocco. That's the Blue City. Do y'all believe in coincidences? I'm just saying, is there something called a coincidence? Because this is kind of crazy. This is all the way in Morocco. Then you got Italy. I mean, the whole Iberian Peninsula, goddammit. And then it jumped over to Colombia. Shit. That looked like a dam done broke open. That's some strong ass waters. That water, what my main thing is when the water is running over all of that mud, What is it uncovering? The way that that water is moving is stripping something off the top surface and is literally rushing to uncover something. That's the type of waters that I'm seeing. These are waters that are unearthing things. Okay? These are waters that are unearthing something that's buried and hidden. Okay? That's what I'm seeing. Because you don't see no rainfall. You can't control water. You would rather water than fire. Water is better than earthquakes. Okay? It's part of the elementals. You don't want fire. You don't want earth. You rather water because it will subside. But damn it, man. Look at the velocity. Look at the fierceness of the water. That water is either coming from a river. It's not the rain. The rain is not doing that. That is not the rain. That is either the banks are being flooded or something is going on. Because I know that a dam broke somewhere. I know that a dam broke, maybe not in Morocco. One of them places, the dam over flooded because of rainfall. Not the rain. Yeah, it is coming from the underground. It ain't that it can come from that water is definitely coming from under the ground. Keep in mind, these places are built on top of places. The storm is called Leonardo, and the next one is called Martyr. Water is memory. Okay, so that's Morocco. That's Morocco. Look how high this water is. This is Portugal. Look at the building. Right? That whole first store, that whole top of the building is gone. The first floor of that shit, finito, underwater. These niggas is in a speedboat. You know what I'm talking about? They in a fisherman's boat going through Portugal. Look at all of them buildings, all of the first floor. The whole entire building is covered. Yeah, that bitch like Venice. They got that. They got it looking like Venice, bro. Yo, that's crazy, man. Everybody that I was at that retreat with, all of their countries was flooding, bro. Portuguese was there. Spaniards was there. The Colombians, of course, was there. Like all of these places, the Spaniards, Spain people was there. That's crazy, bro. I need to call them. Check on them. Shit. All right, so oh, there go a dam. There go a dam. Look at the dam. God damn. Hit the dam. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just reporting the news, man. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes.
Epstein files just exposed.
So now that we got all of that washing out the way, you know we got to continue our conversations that we've been having. Let's go.
World government has always existed and will always exist. The East and West India Company shows you that there is one government, one company, with many shell companies. All of these countries are shell companies. These so-called wars were like a worldwide capture the flag. Government is organized crime, drug dealing, and human trafficking. The French connection was the heroin trade. Once the French got ran out, America stepped in. Wall Street was established by the Dutch. The stock exchange was started by the Dutch East India Company. The base of the stock market is war, human trafficking, slavery, and drugs. New York is New Amsterdam, and New Jersey is Nova Khazaria. One of the first world reset wars was fought on behalf of the East India Company. The Dutch started the slave trade, but it was from North to South America and vice versa, trading and displacing Aboriginals, not Africans. They all worked together to do it. That's why they all have the same flags. Crazy. And the Dutch and the Spanish merged. John Moritz, or Moorish, ran the slave trade out of South America, and you see who he was with. The Dutch and English weren't separate, and they linked through Barbados, or Barbados. The Bourbons, the Habsburgs, and the Orange-Nassau dynasties merged much of Europe. Then we get William of Orange, consolidating all the tiny hats from Spain and the Netherlands. That's why the second oldest college in the country is named after this inbred couple. Their motto was let others wage war. They instigated all Aboriginal infighting. And there's a reason why we constantly get the Roman eagle on all these flags. The Germans even took the Roman salute. So many similarities in the coats of arms. France and the Netherlands have the same flag. Red, white, and blue symbolizes revolution. The revolutions were slave uprisings. Obviously, Slavic countries and Russia got taken over in slave uprisings and followed suit with the flag. They were all first cousins. Russian nobility even spoke French as their first language. Obviously, the French gave America the Statue of Liberty to commemorate the slave uprisings, which is the goddess Columbia. That's why it's the District of Columbia. Vampiric goddess worship. Imp USA. So this Italian dude led the French army, and he was one of the greatest generals of all time, supposedly. It supposedly took him 8 weeks to get from France to Egypt, but what they don't tell you is that America is Egypt. That's why Memphis, Tennessee was named before any excavations in Memphis, Egypt ever happened. Cahokia was bigger than London. The area got treated like a used car. America had already been built up. They didn't build the railroads, they dug them up. Why else would the railroad ties be even with the dirt? And the Napoleonic Wars were the whitewashing of Europe wars. And it's the same in the rest of the world. The Arab Revolt was backed by Britain. That's why all those countries have the same flags now. Hilarious. Same thing in Latin America. Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador are all one country. That's why they still have the same flag today. The flags are a commercial brand, especially the Pan-African flag. But that's why Marcus Garvey, who never went to Africa, was such a big Pan-African leader. Why do you think Walter Plecker had his back? Not a good look. It's always been about keeping the real Aboriginals lost at home. There will always be a world government. The issue is, who is the leadership? The resets keep the dreamer asleep in the dreams, while the projections pull the levers. Okay.
I have a confession to make. I love fame, sex, money, power. Fame, sex, money, power are the four fruits of the Kalpavrishka, the wish-fulfilling tree. If you ever see somebody do something bad and thinking like, man, how could this guy do it? Fame, sex, money, power. Fame, sex, money, power. Fame, sex, money, power. It makes the world go round. Fame, sex, money, power. There's a story that A group of children go to plunder it, and long story short, the child who asks for candy gets a stomachache. The child who asks for toys only gets boredom. The only child who is not disappointed by the wish-fulfilling tree, which gives anything you want, is the child in a wheelchair who cannot get to its roots. The purpose of wisdom is to sever yourself from the wish-fulfilling tree. What you want is not what you want. What you want is to not want that want anymore. Desire is a flame that only becomes hungrier the more you satisfy it, which makes you less satisfied. In Dante's Inferno, there are three animals that guard the gates of hell: the lion of pride, the leopard of lust, and the she-wolf of greed. I am hungry like a wolf. We all are. You know how natives in the tundra kill wolves? They don't even have to hunt them. They dip a knife in blood, let it freeze, dip it back in blood, until there's a popsicle of blood, and they stick it in the snow. In the middle of the night, the wolf comes.
He took that from Dead Prez. That's the intro of a motherfucking classic album. But let him continue. Like I said, these pale faces is acting up. They out here. They out here. They outside making content.
Licks the blade, licks the blood, until eventually it's just slicing its own tongue off, but it can't tell anymore because its tongue is so numb and all it tastes is blood that eventually the wolf kills itself by bleeding out. Sin begins with the consumption of others, but it always ends with the swallowing of your wallowing self. Sin is not sustenance, it's suicide. It is not satisfaction, it is swollen starvation. Your stomach will feel like it is barren and tearing apart at the same time. I mean, that's how they're punished. The lustful and the greedy and the avaricious in hell. They're in a tumultuous storm that never ends. They're eating and they are never satisfied. It will leave you exhausted. You are better off sucking exhaustion out of a tailpipe. That's how you'll feel. A stomach full of vapor, a head full of hot air. Like when you eat spicy chips and eventually you can't even taste anymore because it's so spicy, but there's still a bag left, so you keep eating the bag, but your stomach hurts, but there's still a bag left, so you keep eating it even though it doesn't make you happy. You must have discernment. That's what viveka means, from the root meaning to choose or to divide, which ultimately becomes the words meaning to conquer or to be sacred. Discernment, so you can make a war fortress of your heart, so you can fortify your heart. That's what it all says. A man without discernment is like a city with broken walls. You've got to fortify your walls, bro. The only way to conquer is to cut yourself from the tree of desire. The only way to be sacred is to sever yourself from the tree of desire. He conquers who conquers himself. I conquer others because I cannot conquer myself. Diogenes said that to Alexander, you know.
How many of y'all checked on y'all white friends lately? How many of y'all have checked on your European Nordic friends? My nigga looking like Kurt Cobain and whatnot. There's a lot of meltdowns taking place right now.
While everybody's
There's a lot of
Jeffrey Epstein files, I, as a former neuroscientist,
there's a lot of meltdowns taking place. We just want to be aware of it. All right. So we're going to continue to go down the rabbit hole respectively. Okay, respectfully, we're going to continue to go down the rabbit hole. Okay, I'm gonna have to continue to go down this rabbit hole because, like I said, I pointed out earlier in the program that this behavior that we're witnessing and people are having meltdowns about, and people are all in their feelings and they're like, I can't believe what I just read. You guys, you're not angry? No. The fuck? We're wondering what took your ass so long to say something. That's what we are. Because we've been seeing the motherfucking fangs of the devil. We already knew what he was doing. We've been talking about it for damn near 100 years ago. They was cooking them. Elijah Muhammad was cooking these niggas in the 30s, in the 20s. So what are you talking about? They put books, pamphlets, and novels out. What do we mean? No. And in the 18, 17, and 1600s, our people had our land. Our people had our resources. We was getting all type of things done to us by these PDF files and these quote-unquote cannibals. So many of us went through our angry phases where we had nobody to talk to. We had no Twitter videos to vindicate us from pale folks that was backing up what we were saying. Some of us got put into hospitals and put on 730. So we got put Therazine in our veins and whatnot. Some of us got put on psychotropics. Some of us got locked up because we had the audacity to say the shit that we was saying, bro. Y'all motherfuckers is late. So all of this mayonnaise meltdown, white outrage, y'all can miss me with that shit, because literally this is a part of their culture that they never wanted to come out. They never wanted it to come. Let me show you what they dealing with. This is disturbing. So you know, if you don't want to be disturbed, you might want to just skip this part. But I'm just showing you the depravity of what you're dealing with. This shit is not new. And it's not only predicated to what you niggas falsely call the elite. I don't even know what the fucking elite is, but whatever you niggas call the elite, it's not predicated to them. They just got enough bread to get away with shit. They're all doing it, bro. The fuck? They're in the fucking trailer parks doing the same fucking thing, bro. That's what you're missing. This is not an elite. This is not a rich cracker thing. This is not a, oh, I'm in government and I'm a black. No, nigga. No, this is a Nordic thing. This is a Viking thing.
It's like my grandmother's dentures.
It is. It's fucking gross. Look at the one hanging. Ugh.
Oh my god. Oh, this was a couple.
Look at these ones. All the ones behind you. God.
Yeah, so this is the real life Vecna. This is the real life Henry.
Damn.
Oh, that one's still alive.
That's not long. It's all alive. Hold on, I want to get the hand.
Wow, look at this.
Oh, sorry. Oh my god.
What the fuck? Is that a pacemaker?
So they busted this guy in Pennsylvania, right? And he basically was collecting body parts inside of his house. He had the Little Shop of Horrors in his house, right? He was stealing body parts from the goddamn morgue and whatnot. That's what you talking. That's some of the guys on Tinder trying to holler at our women and whatnot. This what we dealing with. This what we dealing with. You know what I mean? This is what we dealing with.
World government has always existed. Colonialism is over. AI took over the world.
Damn, my nigga be freestyling for real.
Did you know that a world leader just told the UN?
He be mixing facts and fiction like it's nothing.
Marta,
Like it's nothing. All right, let's tap into my dude, man. Hold on.
Stay with me, because I'm going to name some names. When slavery ends, rich cotton oligarchs don't... Because I'm going to name some names. When slavery ends, rich cotton oligarchs don't disappear, they transition. They move straight from plantations into factories, and they rebuild the entire system of domination inside southern cotton mills. When the plantation economy collapses after the Civil War, these old Carolina dynasties, for example, the Greggs, the Springs, the Cones, the Hammocks, they don't go bankrupt. The Greggs take their slave-era fortunes and they build the Graniteville Company, one of the first major southern cotton mills. The Springs family built Springs Industries, which becomes a global textile giant. The Cones created Cone Mills, the denim empire behind Levi's. The Hammocks, they shift into retail, becoming a regional powerhouse. These are the same families, the same wealth, the same worldview, and they bring slavery's management model with them. Their mill villages recreate the plantation in everything but name. Company housing, company stores, curfews, fines, mandatory church, and children as young as 7 running looms. And if you're fired, you're not just unemployed, you're evicted that same afternoon. Poor white workers, they see through this right away. They rebel through the 1880s and 1890s, and by 1930, their revolt explodes into a massive southern textile strike, with white workers openly saying that they're living through slavery by another name. But here's the evil of the old plantation class. They know how to keep poor whites from uniting with black workers. They segregate everything: jobs, neighborhoods, water fountains. They pay black workers less, and they bar them from the mill room entirely. They tell white workers that integration means lower wages, black competition, and ruined communities. You see these same tropes today. And when white workers strike, the owners force in black black workers as temporary replacement. The message to the white workers was deliberate. Your enemy isn't us, the boss. Your enemy is the black worker. And the message to the black workers was crueler. You're not valued. You're leveraged, they would say. The oligarch families today, they're not gone. The Springs empire merged into Springs Global. The Cohn fortune lives in real estate. Cohn Health and investment arms. The Hamricks, they own retail chains. The Gregg's descendants, they moved into banking, real estate, and philanthropy. Their plantation wealth never ended. It evolved.
So it's these families, right, that were dealing with all type of depravity and never atoned, never got brought up on any charges. All they did is they continued to make new children, and that passed on to different bloodlines. Okay, that's what took place. And when we saw a rise in serial killing, when we saw a rise in all type of quote unquote crimes against women, when people came up missing, all of these things that began to happen post-slavery and whatnot. Yeah, man, that's these mother effers. That's these mother effers doing shit like that. So don't be fooled. They sent over boatloads of degenerates. They sent boatloads of degenerates, killers, rapists, robbers, robber barons and whatnot. You name it. PDF files and whatnot. They were all sent to be buffer races against the Indians and against the blacks in America to join with the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, which you niggas call the blue bloods. And they carried on with their depravities and all of their sinister ways. Henceforth, before the rise of the crack era and before the rise of the heroin, the majority of the prisoners in Alcatraz and in these jails was pale-faced people, bro. It wasn't our people. They were the ones on the chain gang. They were the ones in the motherfucking penitentiary like Alcatraz and shit like that. That was them. During the days of the prohibition with Scarface and Al Capone and all of them, yeah, the majority of the people breaking laws and doing dumb shit was those immigrant crackers. The Italians, the Irish, the Jews, and then others. That was them. That wasn't us. And then Joe Biden came with that damn crime bill and all kind of other shit. And they start flooding the hood with these uncontrolled substances. And yeah, they manufactured that. They did. Who watches Rick and Morty? Who watches Rick and Morty and swears by Rick and Morty? Who in the audience is a Rick and Morty fan? Let me disrupt your day. Who's a Rick and Morty fan? Anybody?
New email show Jeffrey
Cause I ain't into that shit. I'm not into that. I don't like Family Guy. I don't like Rick and Morty. I don't like Robot Chicken. I don't like none of that shit because I know what the fuck I'm looking at. And I know the writer room is a bunch of goddamn PDF files and racists. I don't laugh at stupid shit like that. I don't. You got to be able to see through that stupid shit. And a lot of people, unfortunately, was raised on some of these cartoons, and it shaped their personalities. Unfortunately, respectfully, it shaped a lot of people's personalities.
How many of you know about Dan Harmon, comedy writer of Rick and Morty? In 2009, he did one episode of it called Daryl, and he literally sexually abusing a baby doll. You can go online, you can see it. I'll give the link here if you wanted to see it for yourself. I'm just trying to show you how they are promoting trauma, psychological distortion in people, mental illnesses, and everything is just looping. It's a pattern. There is no integration, no talking about healing. So we can start seeing those patterns. So let's talk about Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon is not just a comedy writer. Behind the public persona of the Rick and Morty co-creator and community mastermind lies a much darker, more conflicted frequency. What you see on screen as self-aware, ironic, emotionally broken characters isn't just entertainment, it's reflection. Harmon writes his own pathology into everything. That's not unique in Hollywood, but in his case, it reveals a consistent thread of disturbed masculine projection masked as meta commentary. This is a man whose brand of humor dissects shame, inadequacy, addiction, and sexual dysfunction, but instead of resolving those wounds, he loops them. He turns the mirror on himself and then keeps staring. It's confession as performance. What most people missed is that the sketch you just asked about...
Wait, what? Please, I'm going to continue with this, but that caught my attention. The Boondocks did the exact same thing. Now, when you say the exact same thing, my good brother, you're going to have to show me the characters in the Boondocks that are equated to Rick and motherfucking Morty, bro. I need to know, because the characters in the Boondocks, Huey and Riley, are not, you never can compare them to Ricky and Morty. And I don't even watch the Ricky and Morty, but I know that the characters in the Boondocks was talking about black issues. What are we talking about? He was a woke revolutionary and the grandfather and other. So I just need some insight as to what you mean by that, because I'll never compare Rick and Morty to the Boondocks. Because the AI is breaking down what exactly you're looking at. All of that shit from Cartoon Network, all of the Seth Rogen, all of them cartoons that the Seth niggas created. Yeah, that's all PDF shit. I would say Beavis and Butthead could be Morty from what I've seen, but I'll never compare the Boondocks. Not even with stereotypes. Because the Boondocks was they were dealing with black issues that were in the black community. Even when they were talking about homosexuality, ironically enough, that was around a time where it wasn't even in the community like that. It was taboo when they was talking about it. It was taboo when they were talking about it. And they can't even get away with some of those jokes today. Remember Thugalicious? Like, there's real life Thugaliciouses now. Back then, the Jeffrey Young Thug wasn't even popping like that. They came after Tyler Perry. They came after Diddy. They came after a few people. So I don't know the comparison, because I have not watched Rick and Morty like that, because so many people. Oh, dark humor. Like, hey, it's dark humor everywhere. That we ain't comparing it. That's a different type of dark humor. Regina King was not given the same type of dark humor than fucking Ren and Stimpy, Beavis and Butthead, and Rick and Morty. Different type of dark humor. I would say that the Boondocks was adult humor. That would be a better way of saying that. But all of that robot chicken shit, yeah, that's written by racists and PDF files. That's some Nickelodeon type shit, if you want to be honest, you know. And so many young impressionable minds was watching that. You talk about AI slop, nigga, that was fucking slop. That was slop. That was the highest forms of slop. All of them damn shows that were trying to dehumanize, desensitize, and demoralize our people through animation. All of them writers, all of them comedians, you could go and Google them. They all, majority of them has got caught up in child porn cases and all type of shit. They closed that shit down in Atlanta about a year ago. Niggas is not tapped into Cartoon Network no more like that. People don't realize that shit is demonic.
Climbing through the window to simulate sex with a baby doll is not just shock comedy, it's a broadcast. These kinds of sketches are signal tests. Push the edge, see what the system tolerates, observe what the audience absorbs without resistance. Harmon, like many creators tied into the entertainment complex, exists in a feedback loop with the system that rewards dissociation. The more pain he externalizes through twisted scenarios, the more he's validated as a genius. But if you strip away the laughter track and the cartoon science fiction, what's left is trauma broadcasting. An entire generation of viewers laughs at self-loathing, codependency, meaninglessness, and male emotional collapse because Harmon packages it in absurdity, cynicism, and irony. It normalizes the wound. His success is entangled with the larger media intelligence apparatus, one that uses narrative patterning, emotional trauma, and psychological fragmentation as tools of influence. Trauma-based humor isn't just an accident, it's a technique. You want to look deeper? Look at the archetypes he animates. The alcoholic genius, Rick. The impotent, anxious boy, Morty. The narcissistic father, Jerry. The disillusioned child turned woman, Summer. These are not just characters, they are internal fractures. Harmon doesn't create worlds. He scripts his own fragmentation, and the industry rewards him for looping it indefinitely.
So Nickelodeon, when the documentary came out and it exposed Nickelodeon After Dark, it's like now when I see Adult Swim, it's like those writers who were holding on to all type of depravities, this was the way of getting it out, right? And when I say that some of the writers were racist, the shows don't have to be racist. But when you're looking at the shows, you could pick up on the fact that the people who wrote this eat shit. They don't have that type of gene that you can relate to. The racism is in the depravity. The racism is in the weird fucking frat boy humor. The racism is in them with the stereotypes and everything that you laugh at, that they made a joke out of. So, I'm not judging nobody. I'm just saying, like, once again, and this is not to point fingers. This is not to compare, because we had our whatchamacallit, we had our level of indoctrination when we were young, but our cartoons wasn't on that type of vibe. Like, we had the Mickey Mouse Club. We was dealing with Walt Disney's bullshit. You feel me? With the fucking Africans with the bones in their nose. You feel me? With arriba, arriba, arriba. You know what I mean? The fucking little nigga running and shit. With the fucking what's next? Speedy Gonzalez. We had our version of depravity, but they just turned it up a notch throughout the years of what it appears to be. Okay, they definitely turned it up a notch, because the cartoons that we were watching is like child's play compared to how far it went. It's child's play compared to how far this shit has fallen into the sunken place. We had X-Men, we had Thundercats, we had G.I. Joe, we had He-Man, we had the Transformers, we had Voltron. These are all of the propriety and the IP that they're still pushing to this fucking day. They made movies out of them. They're making remakes out of them. We had the Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm saying? We had Silverhawks. We had Mask, Johnny Quest. Tom and Jerry, my nigga. Niggas loved them some Tom and Jerry. Which one of them was a nigga, Tom or Jerry? We had the Road Runner. We had Sesame Street with CIA. To slow us down. Yeah, it was like, you niggas acted too rambunctious. We're gonna bring Snuffleupagus up in this bitch and a talking bird. We had the Smurfs, we had Fraggle Rocks, Gargoyles. That shit is like, the kids today is so thugged out, they can't even sit and watch that. They like, what is this? You know what I mean? You can't even put it on in front of a 2-year-old. They throw in the tablet. They like, no, what is this? Yeah, I had militant and rebellious era. Yes, we did. We talked about that. We definitely did. Our OGs, they were talking to us militant. Like the niggas that was born in the 60s, they were militant and they were rebellious. You feel me? They were militant and they was rebellious. So our generation, we didn't give that to the younger generation that came after us, but they gave it to us. And they were the ones who kind of like, and the rappers when they first came out, they was militant and rebellious. So we was inspired by militant rebelliousness that turned into gangbang drug dealing. That's what it turned into: gangsterism, gang banging, drug dealing, hustling, right? But we was first militant and rebellious, but we was broke. Yeah, Richie Rich for the motivation. You know what I mean? He was having niggas feel like they could hold some bread in life. You know what I'm saying? Scooby-Doo. Yeah, but I would say like it might have started with Beavis and Butthead, then it turned into SpongeBob, and then you saw the video that I put up the other day with SpongeBob. They was like SpongeBob was talking about the Epstein Island. You know, remember Black Jesus? Yeah, that was funny. You know. The 60s was more community and rebellious. It definitely was. And I say that the heroin and the crack definitely played a big effect, along with the governmental programs on how to break up the home. Let's go down this Jeffrey rabbit hole, man.
While everybody's crashing out on the illicit Jeffrey Epstein files, I, as a former neuroscientist, am curious about the technology. So I decided to dig into the emails and see what he was interested in 2007, 2008, and beyond. And my results are very interesting.
Re-engineering humans and self-replicating machines. Personal genome sequencing in Dubai. An actual meeting with the scientist who leads at that time the research in the self-replicating robots. Self-assembly. Contracting an attorney to research scientific foundation names for the creation of them. At least stated interest to neuroscientist, colleague, and friend. Distributions in nature, deception, sleep, power, money, music, and the brain, and signal intelligence in the biological systems. What is that, you ask? It is all signals in nature need to be encrypted so that the enemy cannot read. This includes inner signals that, if you are aware of, can give you up to your predator. So signals from the nose, my conjecture is that each person has its own encryption and decryption algorithm built in. Spoken like a predator. Of stress-related neuroendocrine and immune system changes. A meeting with numerous neuroscience professionals that then would be followed up on with an invitation for the Epstein Brain Project. And Epstein would decline and say, no, thank you. I don't want the namesake. I just want you to do the work. What is the work? I don't know if we'll ever know. But the person headed it was interested in modeling the human brain with artificial intelligence.
It's really exposing that there is no left and right, that the same people that shut us out of these Ivy League schools and these positions, what they claim to be at the top, they all sick. The eugenics programs that have been carried out never changed. The people who hid Hitler in Argentina went to Hollywood, came to America and taught in these colleges. Like, it's just showing you everything that you need to know about Rome, right? This shit is falling. Epstein said no black people allowed to the island. Yeah. That's what he did say in his email.
This would be an ongoing initiative to recruit AGI specialist in the year 2008. People, thought leaders who were working on AI.
But my thing is this.
What came of this?
Could black people say no Jewish people allowed? That's the $1 million question. He said no black people allowed, but can we say no Jewish people allowed? Could we say no Zionists allowed? Because that's what's being exposed. Can you say that as a people? Because if you can, that will be your first quote unquote, that would be a first step forward in the right direction. But I highly suggest that we can't. You see niggas at the Super Bowl up underneath them today. I highly doubt that niggas. I highly doubt it. And I'm not about to sit around and wait either.
Self-assembling technology.
You know? If this information doesn't move our people closer to one another, then what is it worth? What is any of this worth? There's none of this is worth anything. To be honest with you, if this doesn't move people closer to do something and to make something happen, then nothing or what the fuck you think would do it. Nothing is going to do it. It's not even worth it at the end of the day because people are stuck in whatever they're stuck in. You know? And it just is what it is. There's no one to blame for that. It's just a part of that. That's just the way the ball is bouncing, I guess.
But the 6 million number comes from the Talmud.
Let's see something.
Files just exposed your favorite. Files just exposed your.
And here's to show you that everybody's favorite woke, quote unquote, thought leader. I've been to people's house and they had this nigga on their quote unquote Tubi television and whatnot. Yeah, 111. Let's put that into the universe. 111. Okay, let's put that in the universe for all of the healing of our people. Okay, but check this out. Mr. Noam Chomsky.
The Epstein files just exposed your favorite leftist intellectual, Noam Chomsky, as a close friend and confidant to Jeffrey Epstein. After analyzing more than 3,800 emails and text messages, Mint Press News uncovered what can only be described as a deep friendship between the two. Not a casual acquaintance, but a relationship in which Chomsky and Epstein referred to another as dear friends and trusted advisors. Of course, we first reported on this relationship several years ago, but the DOJ release is providing the public with more intricate details about their close relationship and showing how even Chomsky and Epstein advised each other on geopolitical events, like how using Al-Qaeda and ISIS are effective tools to be used for regime change in Syria. Now, Chomsky, for his part, made no effort to conceal his affection for Epstein, even after his arrest for sex trafficking. He repeatedly told Epstein he was really fantasizing about the Caribbean island, expressing his desire to visit Little St. James, the very island identified as the site of some of Epstein's worst crimes, including cannibalism, satanic rituals, blood sacrifices of children, rape, and other disturbing practices. Records also confirm that Chomsky flew on Epstein's private jet, the so-called Lolita Express, stayed at his luxury residence.
What are you saying? Don't believe everything you see on YouTube. You talking up for Noam Chomsky, my nigga? Did you read the emails? I did.
In Manhattan and Paris and regularly met him for private dinners and gatherings. Right up until Epstein's arrest for child sex trafficking, Chomsky was actively advising him on crisis management, sympathizing with what he called the horrible way you were being treated in the press and public. And as survivors came forward and scrutiny intensified, Chomsky did not distance himself. He actually leaned in more. In private correspondence, Chomsky denounced what he described as a culture of gossip mongers, destroying Epstein's reputation. He went even further, comparing feminists who criticize Epstein to Nazis and religious fanatics. The two men exchanged gifts, dined together frequently, socialized across continents. And through Epstein, Chomsky also entered a social circle that included Steve Bannon, Woody Allen, to former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Chomsky's relationship with his own children reportedly fractured, in part due to their outrage over his attempt to appoint Epstein's longtime accountant and right-hand man to the board of the family trust. But the Epstein files reveal more than personal loyalty between him and Noam Chomsky. they expose political coordination. In emails with Epstein, Chomsky discussed the war in Syria, specifically the use of armed Salafi and Wahhabi groups to overthrow the Syrian government. Chomsky acknowledged that US and allied efforts against President Bashar al-Assad relied heavily on extremist factions, including al-Nusra Front and ISIS. Rather than rejecting the strategy outright, Chomsky framed the rise of these groups as an unfortunate but tolerable consequence of a broader campaign for regime change, privately expressing views that sharply contrasted with his public opposition to US interventionism. Now, this is not a story about guilt by association. It's a story about documented choices, written in emails, booked on flights, and sealed in friendships. It is the story of how the man, once called the most important intellectual alive, maintained a close personal and political relationship with a top Israeli spy, the world's most famous sexual predator, even as the truth about Epstein was becoming impossible to ignore.
Noam Chomsky, right? Bosom buddies. You know? We've seen shit like this before. Let my nigga cook. Come on, cook. Let's go. Fuck that.
Is not dead. Find out Jeff here likes to play a little bit of Fortnite in his free time. Files confirmed. $25.95 charge for V-Bucks on Fortnite 2019. Game was just coming out, so he ain't new to this, he true to this. You're probably wondering, Littlest Jeff, how do you know that's him? Well, if you look in his email addresses from the files, what's that bottom one say? littlestjeff@yahoo.com. The name Littlest Jeff 1 pops up 26 different times throughout the files, which means we can say out loud, we can associate this name with Epstein. And we have another receipt from YouTube under the name Littlest Jeff 1. So we know this is his username. He fuck with weird fucking new, actually, you know, fitting, sicko, child pedophile. Go to Fortnite tracker, because sometimes when you run into a player in Fortnite, like, hold on, son. Who is that? Is he cheating? Let me go look up his stats. We look up Littlest Jeff. That says Chapter 6, Season 1. 16 matches played. Chapter 6, Season 1 was released in December 1st, 2024. Epstein supposedly died in 2019. We know there was movement in the bank account of millions of dollars associated with his name too, but now we know for a fact someone was using his username to play Fortnite. You telling me somebody just got on it, wild strictly for vibes, Red Bull nowhere in sight? Fuck no. That's him. Funny enough, now when you go to try to look up Littlest Jeff 1 on Fortnite tracker, profile's private. Now you're telling me that someone that didn't give a fuck, that maybe that was just their username, all of a sudden is gonna go private because too many people are looking at their username? Or are they trying to hide something? Information comes out just as other news cycles are starting to speculate who entered his thing. Did he actually die? Did somebody kill him? I would like to drive home. Countries around the world are launching investigations over anybody associated with him whatsoever. I would think we should already have the FBI on the way to go figure out who is playing under the Littlest Jeff 1 account in Israel. And I would think our greatest ally would be raiding that crib right this second. But that's not happening because he's a Mossad asset and he really actually may be in Israel, kicking back, being cool, like ain't nothing wrong. Like, no, hold on. He's supposed to be dead. You know how I know it's getting bad? Because Netanyahu took the time to say, you know, he had such an unusual close relationship with our former prime minister that he wasn't working for us. He was doing the opposite. Israel was working for him. He was trying to sabotage me. Shut the fuck up, dickhead. You are a murderous, genocidal Adolf Hitler 2.0 piece of shit. He's somewhere in Israel moving, grooving, vibing, sliding like he wasn't on the most vociferous timing over here in the States. The reason to cover all this up / make us talk about something else is we will be bombing Iran extensively within the next 24 to 48 hours so we can move on to something different. It's another day in America where our president posts AI images of the former president and former president's wife as apes. You know, his call will be like, oh, well, it's just a meme, it's AI. And then the black bootlickers will be like, well, you know, sometimes we can act a little coonish. Y'all niggas, get off your knees, boy. Pull up on the YouTube for more information. I'm promoting this motherfucker now.
Breakdown of what was discovered inside Jeffrey Epstein's temple on Little St. James Island. The images shown here are artistic reconstructions based on verified footage released by James O'Keefe and the O'Keefe Media Group. What adorns the ceiling of Epstein's private temple is not merely a decorative mural. It is a cosmological manifesto, a celestial roadmap stretching across the heavens. This image speaks in the ancient language of the stars. Constellations like Orion, Draco, Centaurus, and Pegasus weave between zodiacal symbols, mythical beasts, and figures drawn from esoteric traditions. But these aren't arbitrary choices. They align with the worldview of the ruling elite, an elite that has for centuries relied on astrology not as superstition, but as a system of cycles, timings, and control. This isn't an isolated phenomenon. In my previous breakdown of the Vanderbilt Mansion in Hyde Park, New York, I demonstrated how that estate too was constructed in alignment with astrological and mythological motifs. From floor plan to artwork, we saw clear indications that those who sit atop power structure their lives and properties around the heavens. Why is this? Because astrology to them is not a curiosity. It is a governance system, a means of channeling spiritual dominion, economic timing, and generational succession. As we move our gaze downward from the stars on the ceiling, we encounter a ship cutting through the celestial sea, a direct visual reference to the myth of Jason and the Argonauts. This is no coincidence. Jason's journey for the Golden Fleece has long been interpreted as a metaphor for initiation, spiritual kingship, and divine right. The Golden Fleece itself, taken from the ram, represents Aries, the pre-Christian, pre-Piscean age. In esoteric traditions, Aries was the age of divine rulership, fire, and the construction of the first temple. The fact that the mural references this mythos speaks volumes about the elite's attempt to connect themselves with an older, pre-Christian order. Jason's ship, the Argo Navi, wasn't merely a vessel, it was a vehicle of spiritual conquest. And here, on Epstein's ceiling, that vessel sails not through water, but through constellations, cutting across time and myth to deliver its sacred cargo. These weren't just governments, they were initiatory societies cloaked as kingdoms, expanding not only territory, but occult power. The last crest appears to fuse modern and ancient motifs, perhaps even stylized elements of banking houses or guilds. Collectively, these symbols suggest that this is not merely a ship from myth. It is a ship of empire, a symbol of global power that merges Zionism, Freemasonry, Crusader mythology, and monarchical bloodlines into one esoteric superstructure. Directly beneath this sky lies the room itself, and within it, a grand bookshelf flanked by two towering columns. One is a smooth, straight pillar, the other is a spiral. These pillars represent duality, masculine and feminine, light and shadow, order and chaos. It is initiation architecture. This temple was more than a private sanctuary. It was a coded structure, part ritual chamber.
Deep. Kind of deep right there. Gotta look into some things. Check this out. I can't have that music playing. They're gonna put a strike on my shit. But this is the lady. You know, this is that lady. Plugged in. You know, plugged in. Look at the whole crew. If she caught, she'd still be on TV, or she'd still be making rounds with all of these fake ass wealthy people. Yeah, it's crazy. The proximity to all of these people It's crazy. But it's just showing you these are the circles that all work together, they all run together. And these is who they tell our people to worship. These are the women that they got women running behind trying to emulate, you know, type shit. And right now, as we speak, she's literally in a summer camp. She's literally in a summer camp. I think she might even have a phone. She's literally sitting in a summer camp. That's a fact.
The 6 million number comes from the Talmud.
Let's check this out about these people's book.
6 million number comes from the Talmud, and it says in the Talmud, in order for the Moshiach, which is their salvation, it's their version of Jesus, in order for the Moshiach to return and bring salvation to the Jews, 6 million of God's chosen people must vanish. That's in the Talmud. And that's why they shaped the story this way, right? They shaped the story saying 6 million Jews got killed. So Jews would take that as a sign from God that the Moshiach is coming, and to perpetuate what they're doing. You know, they didn't have Israel in 45. They got it in 48. But all this is connected to me. The telling of the Holocaust story, the 6 million number, the desire for Israel, and Zionism as a whole, which we haven't really even talked about. This all goes back to their biblical prophecy stuff, that the world is theirs, or God's chosen people, and all that stuff. It's all 100% bullshit. The 6 million number has been publicized going back to 1890. Actually, before this, you can actually find articles going back to 1812, 1814, believe it or not. But here we have 1899, 1905, 1906, 1914. The 6 million number is ever present because it's biblical to them. It's part of their culture. 1912, 1915, 1918. They need $1 billion fund to rebuild Jewry. In 1918, $1 billion. That's like $100 billion today. Fucking ridiculous. Cha-ching. 1919, 1921. Again, 6 million, 6 million. Doesn't matter what the populations of the countries are at the time. 6 million Jews are always in peril. I think they kind of did this in hopes to bring about the Moshiach, right? Maybe if they lie enough, maybe the Moshiach will come anyway. I mean, only thing that really makes sense.
It's crazy.
6 million Jews face starvation. 39, 40, 44. You see, this number is just ever present. And then 45. And then obviously that number disappeared after the war and didn't reappear until the mid-1960s, because that's when the Holocaust was really born. It was really born in the 60s. It didn't exist in the 50s. You'll not find a single reference to the quote-unquote Holocaust until after Hilberg's book on the liquidation of European Jewry.
Yikes.
Epstein sets up a meeting between him and Moot, who is the founder of 4chan. On that same day the meeting is set, /poll is launched. Famously, the birthplace of the modern alt-right. The term woke and DEI, as we know them today, were created in these forums. This is where Q began posting his drops and is the birthplace of the QAnon conspiracy. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Basically, Q is Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein is pedo Geppetto. He Geppettoed the pedo conspiracy theory. Pizzagate was literally a right-wing psyop to distract you from Trump and Epstein. 4chan is a honeypot. QAnon, who were already the stupidest people on earth, have gone one level deeper. Yes, there's a global pedophile ring that's infiltrated the highest levels of power, but fortunately, God has anointed a lone savior to destroy them. His name is Donald Trump. He's Q. He's sending us signals. No, you dumb fuck. It's Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, they were right there. They were so wrong and yet so right at the same time. They just had their characters mixed up. The best cover is hiding in plain sight. That's what they say. Essentially, a billionaire Geppetto federal asset is the reason you're an incel Nazi loser. You fell for it. You've been psyoped by the very thing you sought to destroy. This is like finding out Darth Vader is your father, but instead of a black suit, it's a black male of your Lord and Savior Donald Trump. You've been Geppettoed by the pedo Geppetto. You're a racist chud because you've been programmed by Mossad. Oh my God. Anytime somebody online like says a horribly racist thing, you go, oh, Epstein told you to say that? Are those your thoughts or are those Jeffrey Epstein's thoughts? You've been inceptioned by the king of St. Bart's. But here's what the Epstein files really show us. It's not left versus right. It's us versus them. Deep in the darkest crevices of the internet, the wealthy elite planted seeds of division that have metastasized into a mind virus so divisive and fucking stupid, it would pull the fringes of society so far apart that the rest of us would get divided in its wake. They are playing right in our fucking face.
So this is just translation as to what you just heard, right? The far right, as you know it today. Remember the alt-right, Richard Spencer? Remember Charlottesville? Remember you never heard the names of a goddamn MAGA or Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate? All of these people come about in a certain time period. They're all predated, right, to come about after the rise of this 4chan room called /POL, which is the birthplace of the new far right, right, or the modern day far right, and eventually QAnon. I said on this show in 2025, the whole QAnon shit is a psyop. It's not real. It's a complete psyop. It's one of the highest levels of psyop. It was similar to a real world type of game like Pokemon Go, right? That's kind of what QAnon was and whatnot. But what the Epstein files has revealed, as it has revealed so many things about this nigga and his motion and whatnot, it revealed that the day that actual 4chan forum was launched was the day that Jeffrey Epstein had lunch with the owner of 4chan. Go figure. The same day that he had lunch, where they were probably eating baby, what do they call it? What's the code word for jerkies? The same day that they were eating jerkies and whatnot, or having pizza, right? Jeffrey was telling this man or this owner of a site, coaching him, right? Giving him an envelope or giving him a notebook full of notes, and he told him what to do. That's how he was moving. He was the real thought leader of the lizards, the reptiles, the vampires, and all of these other people. And his low-level shit was engaging into sexual depravity. That was his exercise. That was his low-level crime. That was like his, that, you know what I mean? Like, that was his light work. That was his light work. And what they wanted you to do is to focus on his light work for all of these years. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, President Donald Trump, and a whole bunch of other people lied right in your face and was like, oh, there's nothing to see here. Oh, there's nothing to see here. They dropped 3 million emails and held on to 3 million more. There's 3 million emails that they did not release. So if these 3 million is opening people up, like, oh, wait a minute, he was at that. This nigga's like Forrest Gump of demonic shit. He's the Forrest Gump of demonic shit. He's everywhere where some shit was going down. He didn't miss nothing. They said that he was behind the 2008 meltdown of the goddamn finances from the shit that he did at Bear Stearns and whatnot. They said that he helped to create QAnon, right? This nigga was behind Bitcoin, right? He took some of the engineer. They said he is Satoshi Nakamoto. The nigga won a lottery a few times. They didn't even hit The FBI didn't even hit the ranch in Zorro. They didn't even hit the Zorro ranch. They hit the island, but he hid bodies. They got bodies buried around the goddamn ranch. So the question is not about Jeffrey Epstein. The question should be about how many other Epsteins are there. He wasn't running it. Y'all been in circles before. Y'all seen niggas with motion. One thing about people with motion, they surround themselves with a bunch of people with motion. They not standing all alone. The party did not end. The party did not die when he died. The party did not die when he died, allegedly, because you know. So Donald Trump is keeping it going. Oh, at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, my bad. Shall we continue? Shall we continue? Okay, thank you.
So surprised about Jeffrey Epstein and everything he did when 500 years ago Christopher Columbus came to America and wrote in his diary bragging about how he would abduct indigenous girls, 9-year-old, 10-year-olds, and force them into sex slavery. And instead of denouncing that as a country, we decided to praise him and prop him up and teach elementary school kids how great of a man he was and how he discovered America. Oh yeah, the chicken came home to roost because Jeffrey Epstein is literally what the foundation of America was built on. Stop being so surprised.
So as bland and basic as that statement was, like, that's the fucking truth. You know what I'm talking about? Like, no, like, so when are people going to tie that together? When are people going to just be honest and be like, look, there's nothing that Jeffrey Epstein has done in those files that these fake ass quote unquote leaders or these fake ass quote unquote founding fathers, right? Yeah, he probably did come with them. He looked like a vampire. That's Andrew Jackson, if you ask me, on some vampire in Harlem type shit. But this is the behavior of these migrants. Okay, you want to talk about migrants? This is the behavior of the first wave of migrants into the land of milk and honey, and they've been on that bullshit ever since. And it's just, they just upset that one of them got caught. So now they're throwing all of these red herrings and whatnot. She might have kept it the realest out of all of the people, all of the mayonnaise people calling shit out. Not to take anything away from all of the other little whistleblowers, but it is what it is. When you read this and when you see what's going on, if you don't draw a
$1 billion fund
and you try to make this shit like it's a standalone, that's where you lost me. You're an op. You know what I mean? You're a triple agent or some shit. You're not giving the whole truth. So shout out to all of the mayonnaise people that's giving the whole jar of mayonnaise, not just one scoop. Let's go to a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Peace to the family, stadium lights, we live on the field. Halftime show energy, future getting revealed. Whole world watching drones, trace code in the sky. 90-day marathon, builders ready to fly. From the school to the lab, curiosity spark. AI fundamentals, light a flame in the dark. Then we build with the squad in a disciplinary set. Agile with the motion, every sprint a new rep. Ship it to the public, demo day, roar the crowd. To this day. Right at launches, founders talking loud. Feedback loop spin like the rims on chrome. Every buck get crushed, every product get crumbed.
Imaginarium.
We imagine it, then we engineer fate. Building systems, building cells, build a business that's great. Launch pads, laptops, lives all shift when we code. Now we own our ideas, our equity in the road.
Ha! What we talk about, huh? What we talk about, man? Peace, family. Peace to you and yours. Brother Red Pill reporting live and direct. Yes. First and foremost, I want to give a huge thank you to my good brother Radiohead Rich at 363 Empire for putting on the AI Masters Workshop, Gods of Intelligence. I want to definitely send a salute and a humongous shout out to Savan Bomar for for coming through on day one and doing what he did, man. He destroyed the stage, left no stones unturned. And I want to definitely give a humongous shout out to myself, of course, for what I was able to do on day two. And then I want to give the hugest salute and the hugest shout out to the 363 family who came through and sat through 12 hours of information. And now I refer to them as the founders, okay? So salute to y'all. The journey has just begun. 1,000+ founders have been activated and given the tools that they need in order to take this thing to new heights. So we have now entered into the fantasy complex industry. So join us, ladies and gentlemen. Join us, if you may, at the Imaginarium. We have a new school that we just launched called the Imaginarium. We are offering a premium to all of our students who are coming through to become founders, to become investors and whatnot. This is going to be one of the biggest communities and one of the biggest creator spaces that you have seen in.
In Brooklyn shadow, dreams come alive. At dawn's new light, let your spirit thrive. Breathing courage, let your strength ascend. Dark fire rise and let the power blend. Your aura's a beacon, luck finds its way. With bold steps forward, seize a new day. Shout it proud, success is my own fate. I'm glimmering now, it's time to elevate. I'm a magnet for dreams, success my claim. In sync with fortune, dancing in the game. Wealth cascades freely, triumph ignites, my heart's ready, soaring to new heights. Gentle, it's a rhythm in your soul's beat. Fueling your drive, making goals complete. Your aura's a magnet, attracting sway. Dance with prosperity night into day. Riches may flow, but spirit stands tall. Growth the reward, answering the call. Money's a vessel, clarity's the map. No rush needed, wealth's in your grasp. No need to scheme, to hustle or to plead. Just rise up strong, live in your creed. Don't chase, simply receive what's conceived. Feel the rhythm of wealth you're meant to achieve.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Make sure y'all go ahead and sign up to that Imaginarium. Make sure y'all go and sign up to the Imaginarium, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be the focus for the next 90 days. That is going to be the focus for the next 90 days. We're going to be making all type of stuff, movies, shorts, videos. Man, I need y'all to tap in. We just did a demonstration earlier today during the Super Bowl. Shout out to everybody that was in the building for that. If you didn't catch it, it's 3 hours of heat. I'm walking people through. I'm showing them how to design. I'm showing them the steps. I'm giving them the workflow. So any one of us could turn around, wake up one day and just be a quote unquote, a creator, a generator, an operator, right? A founder. This is for the children, to be honest with you. This is for the youth. But the elders and the olders and the adults and all of us, we could pick all of this up. Somebody said, what's up with the 80s porn music? It did start out sounding like a skin flick, right? Look. Check it out. What the heck? Peace, family. Like Janet Jack me about to pop out or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, man. Shout out to the 80s music, man. We paying homage. We paying homage. Don't judge me. We paying homage. But yeah, let us continue. We just took a break. We just took a break real quick. Let us continue. Let us continue.
What you saw in Milan was an Olympic opening ceremony.
Rosie.
You're still inside the dream. Because what they actually did was activate a... If you think what you saw in Milan was an Olympic opening ceremony, you're still inside the dream. Because what they actually did was activate a global ritual in your face and You clapped for it. Give me 60 seconds and I'll show you how they hijacked your subconscious, masked it as art, and encoded a planetary obedience spell right through your screen. Look, the location? Arco de la Pace. Ark of Peace. Sounds wholesome, right? Wrong. That ark is a Napoleonic military gate, a conquest portal, turned into a peace symbol for optics. That's called frequency laundering. Now look at what they did. Lit it on fire.
Yo, her vocabulary is crazy. Yo, the vocabulary, the lexicon is different. You know what I'm talking about? She got away with them words. She said frequency laundering. Come on, Brosy, cook. Frequency laundering.
Fire placed a spinning synthetic sun at its core, surrounded it with 12 bodies in chain formation, broadcasted globally under the Olympic banner. You literally just witnessed a mass consent ritual, not metaphor, mechanism. This wasn't a flame, it was a frequency weapon. That flaming orb wasn't a symbol of unity. It was a mock sun, a glowing eye inside a DNA cage, 12 interlinked figures forming a human torus field, zodiacal binding. This is the exact ritual architecture used in synthetic solar cults, elite occult systems, and predictive programming. They're not hiding it. They don't need to because they trained you to call it beautiful.
Yo, Brosy. I be looking at the screen because you know they have they got the shit where you could read off of your screen. They got the teleprompter app, right? So when Brosy is going in, I'm like, she reading this shit off of PT verbatim. I mean, she's not even putting no flex on it. She ain't even putting no cut on it. But then I'm looking at her talking. I done watched many videos. I'm like, no, this shit is coming off the noggin. She's not reading it. She's coming off the top of her noggin. Brosy, what do you got to sell the glossary, Brosy. Sell the dictionary, not the scroll. I don't know if those words are in the scroll, but she needs to sell the dictionary.
Trained your awe to accept their myth. And while you filmed it, you became a mirror node. Now you carry the ritual in your pocket. Comment scroll if your body clocked the weirdness before your mind had words. Because that's your field telling you something was installed. Look, this is not about conspiracy. It's about pattern recognition. This was not culture. This was a cultural override. But the Olympics are a mass spell disguised as tradition. Every 4 years, they activate national ego via flags, collapse global boundaries through shared spectacle, deliver new world narratives through ceremony, use fire to install the new mythos in plain sight. And Milano 2026 was the cleanest version yet. Location, conquest gate, iconography, synthetic sun, elemental weapon, fire. Consent trigger, spectacle, deliver vector, your device. They didn't need your belief, they needed your attention, and they got it. This was their ritual, but your reaction completed it. That's exactly how mass programming works now. Wrap it in art, stream it in 4K, make it emotional, weaponize symbolism, hijack your subconscious, call it inspiration. Move on to the next cycle. Look, CNN stamped it, your phone absorbed it, your nervous system logged it. You were never the audience. You're the conduit. Look, if this is the first time you've seen through the pageantry, comment scroll.
Come on, Brosy. Come on, Brosy. You cooking. Then you start talking that scroll shit. I ain't mad at her, though. She is consistent. If there's one thing that I respect, it is consistency. Shout out to Brosy O'Donnell. Keep cooking, Brosy. Get them scrolls from Brosy. Word from my sponsors real quick. I'm going to send her some V-Cell. I'm going to find out. I'm going to get the P.O. box. It's something with scroll on it. I'm going to send her the V-Cell.
V-Cell in my cup, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by steam moss. Flow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Run it up, 99 minerals, flaws. V-Cell in my cup, I'm feeling right. Sip to the sunrise, dance to the night. From the ocean's kiss to your city lights. 21 flavors, pure health in every bite. Drip so clean, we're custom made. From reef to street, we elevate. Gold green gel, set the record straight. Nature in a bottle, that's a better way. Charge me up, no caffeine crash. Clean energy, steady splash. From skin to gut, yeah, we live from within. Oneness on 10, let the rhythm begin. Pour it up, pour it up. Feel the wave, body thanking me. Every save, ocean wisdom in this sea moss. V-cell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by sea moss. Glow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, floss. Island breeze in the city maze. We're mineral rich in 1,000 ways. Immunity high like the summer rays. Hydrate the hustle, fuel your days. Berry, mango, ginger, lime. Pick your flow, your flavor, your time. Beauty and balance we redefine. Every little sip, align your shine. Wear it up, feel the way. Body thanking me for every step. Ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, sea moss. We sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by sea moss. Glow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, floss. From the coral choir to the heartbeat drum. Roots run deep where the wild tide hum. Real ones know where the glow comes from. We sell in the mix now, watch us.
Big up to V-Cell. All right. We got new commercials coming. I got testimonials for the V-Cell CMOS. We're going to chop that footage up and put that out there. Shout out to everybody that's been ordering and supporting the V-Cell. We got the A game for the ladies and the men. We got a commercial for the A game. The A game is our enhancement pills. All right. The A game is our energy enhancement pills made out of Chinese herbs and whatnot. 15 Chinese herbs. We have pills, or, you know, it's capsules and whatnot. We got the capsules for the ladies and we got the capsules for the men. You take one every 3 days and it's going to put you right in the game. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to go. I want to say thank you for holding it down with us. Click on that link, Imaginarium, the QR code. Make sure you sign up. Classes are every Friday. And we have a school. We're dropping information in the school daily. We have classes. We have homework. We have all type of things. So make sure that you become a member of the Imaginarium. I promise you, you will thank me later. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say peace, love, and light. Yeah, man. Let's like I said, let's pray for the people that are underwater. We in no way relish at any way of what Mother Nature is out here doing. However, we will highlight the history attached to the lands that are being quote unquote judged by Mother Nature, Pachamama. All right. So with that being said, peace, love, and light. We're going to end it with the 4 tops, the 44 tops. I'm sorry. Peace.
Red, blue, purple light. Red, blue, purple light. Friends, facts. Red and blue, purple light. Red, red and blue, purple light. Friends, facts. You can get to know the ledger. Sacrilegious Sunday to Melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger. My love, just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land, focused on the ego. Then I open my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we're stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.